The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
the top talents in the comic book business are here to tell everything they know.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Tuesday night. One of our favorite guests here on the Industry of Comics show and on Beyond Wednesdays, we bring you again, Mr. Brian Pulido. Brian, how you doing, brother?
Doing great, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I feel like I'm in like a great company tonight.
Yep. Yo,
you're I think you're probably our 5-timers club now, aren't you?
I should like Saturday Night Live. I should have like,
Yeah,
I know.
Your own jacket, yeah.
I'm up for it.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Product
that would be cool.
placement.
Yeah.
Look at that product placement, right?
You guys remember like back, you guys might not remember this, but when back in like the late 90s and early 2000s, they used to have these like, all the bands would have like these cool like jackets that they would give, you know, the roadies and stuff. And I'm sure they did that in the 80s and early 90s too.
Oh, yeah.
But they always had these cool Deftones ones. And I ran into it.
We tried to get you the Deftone one that we found at the cigar bar.
Yes.
Emmett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for a very short period of my life, I actually worked for Def Jam Records. And so that was when Def Jam was leaving Rick Rubin's hall, dorm room. They had their first brownstone down in quasi East Village, a little bit north of Soho. And I worked on a movie called Tougher Than Leather. And they did give us all Adidas, Run DMC, cool bomber jackets. They were red, black, and white. And man, I don't know what happened to mine. But yeah, that was cool rolling in.
Rosebud.
By the way, speaking of apparel, bro, your shirt is awesome. Check out this shirt that Brian's got with all the blood spatter on it and everything. That is sick, dude. That's cool.
Hell yeah. Just get out the red yarn and do it.
Yeah, you got to do it with real blood, though.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Are you sure I have it?
DNA.
Well, you just got done with recently Tucson Comic Con, which
yes,
is a super fun event. I have been before. I haven't been in a couple years, but I need to get back out there. And it sounded like this year was a great year for you guys.
Yeah, so we, myself, my wife, Francisca Pulido, have owned Tucson Comic Con for 10 years, have operated and managed it for 9. And one of the cool things about this year is we opened up the convention beyond the main exhibit hall, which is about 85,000 square feet. And we occupied the arena, which is usually like a hockey arena or musical arena.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually was dressed it just looked fantastic. And we had an uptick in attendees, so it filled the room really nicely. And Tucson Comic Con was a blast. I mean, our whole thing is about being the friendliest con in the greater Southwest. And it was a blast, very exhausting. Between Tuesday and Sunday, I walked about 35 miles. So it's just the true story. I mean, part of it too, although owner operator, I actually head up the signs team. So that might be anything from generating the signs, working with the graphic designers, and then working with the team to deploy them and working with the team to get them all down. So it's pretty hands-on, I'm also in like the guesting part. I'm also in the marketing part. So it is not a hands-off thing for us at all.
Yeah. People don't realize how much work it is to put on a con. It's a lot of work, a ton of
It is a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, literally planning for the next one starts next week. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say booking starts next week and all that. Do you already have a sense of repeat vendors for next year?
Yeah, I think we're in a system where if it's all gone great for everybody, we invite all our vendors back. So yeah. I mean, we do carefully curate it. We try to have a balance of everything. But if you're a veteran, returning exhibitor, and it's been successful for everybody, you get the invite back. You essentially get the first right of refusal on your space, like San Diego does.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
This year, you were talking about the Special Turtles event that you had going on, which was pretty awesome.
So we went all in on a massive celebration of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was crazy. We brought in Kevin Eastman, who is an utter rock star and, like great, humble, affable, approachable guy, phenomenal with his mega fan base that comes from out of the woodwork from everywhere. But then we also brought in, let's see, the Turtle Van. We brought in all 4 turtle suits from the first movie and had actors in them the whole weekend. And then we brought in all the actors from the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie as well. So we went all in. Yeah, there it is. Absolutely. And it people loved it. It's sometimes, I forget like how ubiquitous and how much of an impact the turtles have had on so many people's lives. I mean, at this point, forget about it. So that even particularly the turtle van. I mean, Kevin was a massive draw, but also that turtle van and those turtles. It was at times we had to really organize the line because it would just it's like the Beatles all of a sudden. So it was fun. People had a really great time.
And
It's really well
Sergeant
done.
Slaughter too.
Yeah.
Sarge will be at the Monroe Comic Con this weekend.
He is a great guest for anybody watching. Go see Sergeant Slaughter. He is phenomenal. And I got along great with Sarge after Saturday night. We had a couple drinks, and I didn't expect it, but he gave me the Cobra Clutch, as we're like
I
drinking
saw
whiskey
that.
together.
That was
Yeah.
awesome. I'm trying to grab that picture because that was so good, man.
Yeah, he was amazing. Another great guy, great with guests. We had Eric Estrada, and he brought out like every Tia in the Southwest. Oh, that's
Look
awesome.
who's
There
right
it is.
next to it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then I got Billy Tucci over here.
I love it.
That's funny, man. Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun this year. That's a con that a lot of people here in Arizona talk about, being probably our better of our cons. It's
Thanks.
talked about as being better than actually Phoenix Comic Con or Fan Fest or whatever, and a lot of people make that trek out
They do.
to the con. It's
They
just
do. It's a blast.
yeah, it's just a couple hour drive. It's a nice easy drive, and go hang out, have a good time. Look at that. That's so cool, man.
Oh yeah, it was cool. Yeah, that's like the only time these guys aren't mobbed. It's pretty cool.
Right. Can you go back real fast, Brian? You first met Kevin 30 plus years ago?
Kevin Eastman?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I probably just from being a comics professional, you get into our little green rooms like at Detroit Comic Con. Dennis probably remembers this, where the owner's mom would make chili. And I always looked forward to that chili, dude. That when I would get an invite to Motor City, the first thing I'm thinking about is I'm gonna get that chili. But I might have met him in green rooms and stuff like that. And then, of course, I think Jesse James, you yourself had a double header where I signed at your shop along with Kevin. It was a nice time reconnecting. But I really just one of the nicest comics professionals. No joke. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be, I suppose, but he's just very friendly, affable, interested. He's super engaged with everybody. It's really nice to see.
Yeah. Good dude. He is always busy at these cons. His lines are
He is always
long.
busy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, it's like you said, the turtles are, it's funny how this happens, and good retailers and people who work in the industry, they key in on this where, the younger generations get to a certain age and they start get a little bit of expendable income, and they start wanting to go after the things that they loved when they were kids, right? Nostalgia is always that key.
Yeah.
And we saw that happen with Turtles over the last probably 10 years. Now we're starting to see that with, different things. Pokemon is huge because of that. And, different types of manga and anime are starting to get a big hit on that. So that nostalgia just keeps on, pumping out money, man. It does till the end of time.
And it's multi-generational.
Yes.
That's there's a lot of licenses that are multi-generational. They're way better bets than certain things that kind of die out.
It's a great observation because we saw that right at the con. You saw like a mom and a dad bringing their kids, and everybody's they're all on the same excitement level.
Right.
At what point do you, as you're planning this con a year out, 8 months out, 7 months out, is there a number you don't want to go below when it comes to comic vendors? Does that make
Well,
sense?
yeah, it makes sense. So there was just an organic development of Tucson Comic Con under our tutelage, because in the beginning, I think we took the con over when it was struggling a little bit.
Right.
So whatever the baseline was the baseline. And then as the years have grown, and as comics are more, people are more stoked about comics, we have increased the amount of comics vendors, some pretty deep track vendors as well. So we try to curate a balance of what people are interested in. People commented this year that they thought there were a lot of comic vendors for a con. So I don't know how to measure this. Like I was at Terrific Con a couple weeks ago, and they had a zillion comic vendors. I wouldn't say we had that many, but we had enough that people were pretty happy about it. So I would say, I could be wrong, something about the 15 to 18 range of like legit deep track, either comic vendors or the people that we all love, which are the people who buy a table because they're divesting of their collection.
Right. Right.
Look at
So,
that.
so would you say?
How much
would
are
you-
your booths? Actually, but while we're still on that, how much are your booths for vendors?
I'll say this, our booths for vendors are cheaper than the average, the mean average. I actually don't have, it's not my department, pardon my ignorance. I just don't have the figure in front of me, but both our artist alley tables and our vendor tables, our booths are just lower than the industry average. Same thing with our ticket prices by choice and design, knowing we're in Tucson, Arizona, it's a different economic
Right.
thing. So we do suppress it. So it's like radically lower than the bigger national ones.
So just to piggyback on that answer, would you say 50% of your vendors were comic orientated?
No, candidly, okay, so let me think of the general breakdown. Let's take a number of like 250 overall vendors.
Okay.
Probably 10% are comic vendors.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't find that unusual, but I mean, they're good quality comic vendors, people buying at times an island. So we had, for example, Drawn to Comics, they had an island. So that's 20 by 20. Most of these vendors are in the 20 by 20, 20 by 10, 20, 10 by 30 kind of range. Other vendors will be everything that you normally see: apparel, stuffed animals, games, Legos, etc.
Shout out to Cal
The
L for
boo-boo.
just dropping the 10 gifted memberships. Appreciate you, Cal. Much love.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because you talked about how you were at Terrific Con. You're around the country doing these cons constantly,
Yeah.
and it's speaking of a lot of work to put on the cons. It's a lot of work to go to these cons, and
It's true.
but you love it, and we were talking about it earlier. Like that's the part of this. You said that you love putting on the Tucson Comic Con, because you get to show your love and respect back to the community, and that's why we do this, is because we love it. Yeah, we make money doing
Yeah.
it, but this
Well,
is something
it's
that
also
we're vested into.
It's also technically a second event that he puts on every year, because you also put on
Swornfest.
Swornfest.
So actually, that's the next thing we just began working on, guys. So next, January 30, 31st, and February 1st is our very own convention that's orientated around Coffin Comics culture called Swornfest. And without exaggeration, I could say a couple things. And I don't know if I'm one for too much hyperbole, but number one, it is our biggest guest list ever. Number two, the exclusives that all the announced artists have made for this event are completely next level. I think we just hit a theme that really connected. And so far, as an example, we have bringing in Richard Ortiz from South America, Diego Bernard, Don McTake from Canada,
Wow.
Ebass, some people that they would know, Marissa Pope, Mike DiBalfo, and we have others that we haven't announced. The list really we got carried away this time. So I say to people who are listening, if you're ever going to come out to a Swornfest, this is the Swornfest. We also have a new location. It's larger. I think it's more luxurious. It is a hotel space that is connected to an event space, both of which are separate. So we could really party our asses off on one section, then everybody could go lay down in another, and you don't have to drive. So, I mean, there is some partying involved with Swornfest, full disclosure. You don't have
Yes,
to,
there
but
is.
it does happen.
Yeah. Last Swornfest, There was a great moment where you guys announced the video game, the Lady Death video
Yeah.
game, which is a very big deal for us because when we went to San Diego this year, yeah, there's Emmet. Let me see if
If I can get it to.
yeah.
Awesome. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
Awesome.
you are. Now you're in picture.
Yeah. So
That's
we're really
awesome.
looking
I'm,
forward to
I'm
this.
very excited about it.
Yeah.
I have over 6,000 video games, and we do
That's
a lot of
awesome.
high end stuff. It's going to be nice to offer something brand new to the
Well, thanks for your support. Yeah, I think, we meet with the games guys, Ash and the team every other Tuesday, and still on track for our release in April of 2026, which has always been the promise. Those guys have been great. And Emmett, you got a chance to see a little bit of the game as it developed, and it's coming along pretty fun. I mean, it's pretty much what people want and expect. It's like 5 levels of like madness and violence.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that's what people are looking for
Hell
sure.
yeah. Shout out to you, Soggy Girl, who dropped the 1999 super chat. She says, love the Lady Death Chaos Rules Terrificon exclusive.
Oh, that was a fun one. Yeah, that was by Mike Crome, and that was an
Ooh.
homage to the great Frank Frazetta, the Egyptian queen.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
I love
And,
Mike
and
Crone.
his name is Crom,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
Crom.
It should be Mike Crome. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Crome is
You
one
know-
of the most underrated artists in the hobby by far. He is one of my favorite
Yes.
artists in the game.
He is so insanely good. Yeah.
Yeah, I ask you this all the time, and I still, how do you why is your retention so well with creators, artists, inkers, colorists, where most publishers can't retain that retention?
So
Hey, hold on. Can I interject a joke? Because he pays them? Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Sorry.
Yeah, one thing I think we've been blessed with ever since the beginning is philosophically, years ago, I used to work in the film business, and I worked as an independent contractor. And the usual terms were somewhere between net 14 to net 30. But there would be times where it'd be net 30, net 35. I'm counting on this money, and now I got to go chase my money down. And it's just a bad feeling. I never want that feeling for a fellow creator. So yeah, we pay on time. We do pay quick. So Jesse, to answer your question, I also have to make some guesses. So hopefully, as a business, we've been ethical with people and upfront, pay people regularly. Maybe some of the creative ideas are still thrilling and tantalizing, and we tend to hire artists and retain artists who like the subject matter. So those would be my guesses. You'd have to ask them, but like one thing that we pride ourselves on is like we're probably like we're like a net 5 at the most, and we usually pay like super duper fast.
Right. I think there's a team aspect to it.
Yeah.
There seems to be a growth in that team as well. As I go to conventions across the nation, you kind of see those folks always together. And obviously when I walk up, hey, have you talked to Brian? It's kind of synergy, I think, is involved in that as well.
So many of the folks that are like artists that continue to contribute, I met when we were all making our bones back in the convention circuit back on like 2010, 2011, 2012, where we're making a living at cons doing 25, 30, 35 cons a year. And so you get to know a person. And so many of those relationships, things like people like Mike Crome or Dawn McTague, that kind of grew out of that. And I think that to a degree that we could count on each other for various things. And like really, although technically the artists who contribute to Coffin are independent contractors, we just want to let them know it's like we have your back. Like we're doing this together. We're a team, and your contribution is truly valued. Like from time to time, I just kind of wake up and say, I just got to get in touch with Dawn McTague and say, just thank you, because you make our stuff look fantastic. And like your work itself is defining the time, how people see this stuff. I think that's one of the things that have helped us. Lady Death could have been stagnant through the decades if we kind of stayed fixed, but we tend to kind of like roll with the time, try to keep her eternal, but kind of roll with the time. And it's really the artists who help us do that.
So Well, go ahead.
There's an artist that we have some questions about in the chat about maybe her showing up to Swornfest. What about Sun Kamanaki? Is she going to be showing up at Swornfest?
She's fantastic. I can say nothing. You know, people stick to the reveal. Sign up to our newsletter. We do our reveals
Awesome.
mid-month. Sun was a great guest at Swornfest 2024. It was, magical. I mean, her exclusive was perfect. Yeah, she's just tremendous. But you'll have to. There are more guest announcements to come over the course of the next 3 months. Even more announcements.
So
There
my question's more about your impact. 35 years in
Yeah.
the industry. You came in at a period of time where there were probably 6 different distributors when you
Dude,
launched?
there was 13. Yeah,
13.
something like that.
Yeah, and you're piecing, inventory here, and you're trying to
Yeah.
refill. And I know, like, the early Evil Ernie stuff all sold out really quick.
Yeah.
So navigating that, and then navigating into the diamond system when it was a monopoly,
Yeah.
and then and nothing for nothing, but navigating out of the diamond system
Yeah.
before it implodes, and
Yes.
you're one of the guys holding his junk and saying, "Where the hell is my money?"
Yeah.
So if you could just walk us through that 35-year process.
I think for better, for worse, I think, Dennis, you know this about me at a molecular level. Not even being a mean person about it. I've just always had lone wolf tendencies.
Yeah.
So I do build teams around me. But I have certain philosophical views on things like free market economy, etc. And I live them. I am the action of that stuff. So when we had the multitude of distributors, it really worked. And then we had the one. And then, that was just what we were granted at the time. And I went with the flow, but I felt like during that time, I learned a lot of lessons. One of the main lessons as a smaller business that's kind of boutique-y, that maybe some people truly understood and some loved and some adored, but some completely didn't understand, kind of understood that I would always have to go my way. So one of the lessons that came out of maybe my Chaos Comics era and the diamond era between 2002 and maybe 2014 is that system alone can't sustain a smaller boutique business because of selling wholesale, and the lack of capital strained my ability to do outrageous and ridiculous things like have our big HQ or throw on these events. So around 2013, I knew that I was going to throw my hat back into comics. I had been writing comics for other people, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't completely satisfying because I kind of like the whole dimensional thing about like marketing, promoting, just being all over it is kind of the requirement for me. So the script and the story and the comic itself is the engine, but I have so much more I want to give. So around that time, I actually I talked to all the captains of industry. And one thing so that's all like the big retailers, etc., all whom I have nothing but respect for. Because again, I'm a free market capitalist, and I believe like you got to go find your way. All's fair. So, but what I walked away with was the feeling that it was very difficult to satisfy too many audiences in that marketplace. So, seeing Jimmy Palmiotti do his own crowdfunding, I decided to throw my hat into it. But Dennis, I think you can appreciate, like every time I take these risks, I don't know that they're going to work out. It's hard to say, right?
Exactly.
Sometimes you gotta, like the classic line, you gotta risk it to get the biscuit. So I took the shot. Cut to years later, there was a lot of success through crowdfunding. Totally grateful for it. But in terms of exactly what happened with Diamond, what was going on with Francisca Pulido and I, our president, our very smart president, a very forward-thinking president, we were actually having a meeting on a Monday, and we had concluded that we were probably going to stop selling directly through Diamond as a product shipping in July, because that would have finished up a storyline. 1 hour later, Diamond declared its bankruptcy.
Wow.
And literally. And so probably within 24 hours of that, we had a book that was shipping. It was already out the door. And we then called up Diamond and said, okay, look, not for nothing. You have this one book, but we're not sending anything else until you sort yourself out. And the Diamond folks understandably said, no, come for the ride. Everything's going to be fine. It's all going to work out. We're going to be covered. And I said, look, that may be so, but we're not going to be part of this ride. So we're just going to take a rain check. And when you guys sort it out on the other side, we'll kind of have a conversation. And again, because of lone wolf tendencies, I never, ever would have considered warehousing my work with them. It's just something I wouldn't do because I'm not trying to be hyper judgmental, but my observation was that Diamond didn't quite know where everything was. And that was even before then. And that just concerned me. So, very simply, I'm not going to take my lifeblood. I mean, I believe stock, comic books, comic books is life in our business. It's like a Chuck Rosansky rule. It's like having comic books is life. It's something that could be sold. It could be something that could be turned into capital. It's something that could turn into a lifeline. So the idea that I would take that away from myself and volunteer it, I wouldn't do it. So, that does bring us to the present. But I got to say, for the record, I have nothing but empathy for the comic book publishers who are caught up in this turmoil. And I will let you know that I personally put out calls to people you may or may not imagine I would, because it changed my perspective on things. Because what some of these publishers are going through right now, and you might have seen today the news that many of these publishers are now being sued by the Diamond debtors over their own products. I think that there should be a bounty on anyone who buys that stuff, and they should be outed. And everything should be done to foil them. That's within the legal means. Because if you love comics, you want comics to be healthy, and you want your peers to be healthy. You want fair competition. But what's going on right now is just it's beyond the pale.
The last thing you want to do when the plane crashes in the Andes is be the first one to feast on your buddy.
That's right. That's right.
And yeah, I mean, that's it, honestly.
Yeah, but I think, Brian, I just want to jump in on this.
Of course.
Don't you think that because you went through bankruptcy and these other folks hadn't, them being so unprepared for this has created to where we are right now? And I think that's the challenge these folks have is they've never had to go through this before.
So it's true. So we had a business bankruptcy with Chaos Comics, my first company, in August of 2002. And a lot of that arose out of, financial mismanagement, and my strategies were wrong, but it was very instructive. And one of the main things that I came back out of that with is that there is a business around bankruptcies.
Yep.
And there are people who are the first position beneficiaries of them.
Lawyers and bankers.
You're right. And you guys see all the public announcement of like just how many fees are being accrued and how all those people have first position. So yeah, for sure. I knew that coming in as well, Jesse, for sure. I just knew that there's a business around bankruptcy, and that for sure the debtors are always in a bad position from it. Right. So that definitely informed a lot about like, we're not doing business until you're settled, because again, you could see it. It's like, they would maybe authentically say, everything's fine. We have money to carry us through this. And maybe that's the truth that they know. But as we've known, and it's what's shown up is that, well, then a week later or 2 weeks later, now they don't have money. So we just wanted to avoid all of that.
Can I go back? Can I roll it back though? Because one of the things that I want to talk to you about was when there was 13 distributors.
It was great.
Yeah. But then, everybody was fighting to promote you. Every one of those guys wanted to promote everybody. But when it consolidated down to one, and you are, my friend, are in a unique position to enlighten the audience. You used to have a full page spread.
Oh, multiples, yeah.
With every one of the 4 covers that were available on 5-10 different books that would come out every month.
Yeah.
Diamond didn't do that because they loved Brian Pulido and wanted Brian Pulido to succeed. They told Brian Pulido that you have to pay us all of this money for us to give you these giant spreads. And they told that to everybody, not just for the love of the comics, but it was to pit you against one of the other back of the book publishers just to get more money. And I don't think that was conducive to a successful growing industry.
It's interesting. Let me offer you my view on it. So there were these multitudes of distributors, and including Comics Hawaii, Friendly Franks, Heroes, Cap City, and all its divisions, Diamond. I'm probably thinking there were some like giant comic conglomerates. I think it was like Comics Haven. They had a zillion shops in Connecticut, but we could guess our print runs by when we would get our little order from Comics Hawaii. So Comics Hawaii, we kind of gauge that it would be 5% of what our overall sales would be. So they would be the first. And we were getting our sales, our orders in about like the 7th, 8th, 9th of the month. But Comics Hawaii was always first. It would come through a fax. So that's a memory there. So it's true that we were all at a giant comic book, what was it, like a retail organization where we publishers would be showing our wares to all the distributors. And we were all down in New Orleans. I think when the announcement that, I think it was the initial announcement that Marvel had purchased Heroes World, which was a regional distributor in New Jersey that serviced that whole tri-state area plus. And that was not a good thing for either Marvel or for our industry, because Marvel didn't know how to they didn't know how to operate it. And so it was actually over time was a big fail. And that was the chink in the distribution armor that ultimately led, in my view, to that consolidation. So when we got to the consolidation, everybody loses. Shops went away. Distribution centers all went away. Friendly Franks is gone. Comics Hawaii is gone. All the Cap City warehouses were gone. And let me paint a picture for people. There was a time where there were maybe in excess of 60, 70 regional warehouses between Diamond and Cap City. And what was great about that was you could go pick your orders up. You can actually go and get presentations. Used to live in Southern California, and I would go to Cap City and I would go to Diamond and I would give presentations, and retailers would show up. You do incentives, you talk about your stuff. And so I think that was a real benefit. But you're right, it all consolidated down to one. Now I have probably a complex view on Diamond, because Diamond has had different eras and different executives who headed them up. And I would have to tell you that even during that consolidation, I actually liked the group of executives who were heading that up. So to my recollection, Bill Shanis, Cindy Fortier, Chuck Parker, who was less involved, and Roger Fletcher. And even given that Coffin Comics was sort of boutique-y, edgy, and yes, we had to pay for ads, we did cut our exclusive deal the way many did. That's probably a whole nother convo. The exclusive wars, where there was just Cap City, there was just Diamond, and at a particular San Diego Comic Con, all publishers were going back and forth to Cap and to Diamond, figuring out who's going with what. Well, I had my meetings with Milton, etc., and you could kind of tell where the wind was going. But I think I used it at that time as leverage if I were to go exclusive, we needed some incentive. And so I'm happy to say that a lot of those great full page ads you saw, Coffin Comics did not pay for it, because to get us over to them, we asked for stuff. So
Right,
and
sure.
we got some stuff. So my view at that time was I think we made as good of a deal as we could in a tough circumstance. I actually felt that particular era of Diamond was good to me, because you have to keep in mind too that that Chaos Comics was, in a sense, the test subject for a fledgling toy making outfit called Diamond Select Toys. And at the time, there was an executive, you may recall, his name was Tom Stormonth, along with the guys who wound up heading that. And we actually founded that business together, believe it or not. It was our company, Eternal Toys plus Diamond Select. We founded that together. And in a sense, particularly for our first 2-year, 30-month period, we were the guinea pigs for everything, because those guys, they were learning all of it. Everything was new. So I think competition was high. Sales were good. Then the contraction began. But I don't, from my perspective, I don't remember it being, I don't remember competition other than the healthy, normal competition, you know, even among friends. I don't remember Diamond particularly squeezing us. In our case, I felt they were pretty good to us. But then again, we used that point of leverage during that, if you
Yeah.
remember that San Diego Comic Con, to say, hey, look, if you really want us to go with you and, you know, not cap. And it was really like that. Like you're jumping back to people. It's like, I
Right.
want 5 ads. I want 6 pages. I want 7
Sure.
pages. That's exactly what it was like.
Okay.
Right. But don't you feel that during that time you had what many didn't have, which was social and marketing value, whether it be in a Wizard magazine, comic book news, you were always in a
Some type of
page
medium. Yeah.
marketing.
Yeah, we're real lucky that way. I mean, we had great allies, you know, even, you know, it's funny with the Wizard guys, like they were always covering us or we were in there, but they were always like, they always had issues with the characters, you know, like the boobs and all this stuff. And it's like, you guys are weird, man. Like we're guys, we like boobs. Like what's the, I don't get it. But
Yeah.
Right.
I never quite got that. But they
And
were all,
some of their best covers are nothing but boobs.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, you know, it's great. It's really funny out of all that Wizard era. Like there's a couple guys that maybe who were like giving me the most shit who to this day are now some of my better online friends. I mean, it's kind of funny. Like they grow up and they're like, yeah, okay, we're just giving you shit for the boobs. It's like, yeah. But you know, but Jesse James, yeah, we really worked that system and the system was pretty good to us and we fought all the time for it. You know, particularly I always come from the point of view that this material that I produce is cult-like, and not what I mean by that is like cultish, like it's like 3,000 super dedicated people are into it, and that's fine by me because that's what I like. Like I have cult-like dedication to things like the movie Night of the Living Dead, Last Man on Earth, Carnival of Souls. Like it's what just you know energizes my life. So we just been very, very lucky in that sense.
That's awesome. I think that is probably the best, my favorite part about what you do and what you guys do over at Coffin Comics is you have this community that you fostered that is like, there's nothing like it in comics. There really isn't. I can't think of any other thing like Sworn
Well,
Nation.
I can think of it, but he never went political to get it. I think that's the difference. Brian's apolitical. I mean, Brian, we've known each other for 30 years. I don't know what your politics is, and I love it that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I made a conscious decision very long ago in my life that I would not necessarily discuss those topics, and I'm not going to let those topics dominate because I want to be kind of the place where you go to hang after all that stuff.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. Well, I think the great thing about when we talk about fan bases, you have everybody has fan bases. You have a self-reliant fan base. And that's extremely rare. When people go to Swornfest, they don't have to be hanging out with Brian Pulido. They're going to have their fun because that's the environment you have created.
Dude, it's totally true. It's funny. It's like, I must tell you that at this point I'm optional because everybody's just like having whatever fun they're having, you know, like the clicks and yeah, it's great. I mean, the friendships and the camaraderie and the have your back quality. I mean, I know that in Sworn Nation, the commonality, I guess, is, you know, the coffin stuff. But I promise you that the makeup of the people of Sworn Nation are across all political persuasions, religious belief systems, but we just all together said, we're going to leave all of it at the door and we're going to find amongst ourselves, like, what can unite us? And, you know, knock on wood to this day, it's prevailed. And that's the blessing.
And also tattoos. Have you ever considered if you got a 10% kickback from every tattoo artist that used one of your IPs, how much richer you would be?
Dude, not only that too, but there's like a whole nother category people don't realize. Motorcycles and lowriders.
Yeah.
Dude, somewhere out there in Florida, there's a whole motorcycle gang and they use Smiley's psychotic button as their thing on their mask.
Nice.
Just today, someone posted this gorgeous lowrider bike and it was Lady Death themed. They had the chaos symbol and stuff. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm just happy that in the world of comics that, we could provide all that stuff, which sounds I think you guys get it, but the outside world doesn't get it because they see that we make these R-rated, sexually provocative comics, and yet we're pretty mild-mannered people. We're up for a really good time. We kind of look like Roland, looking like a motorcycle gang and all that silliness, but yeah, it's just that's what it is. What can I say?
Well, one of the things I want to take that back for a second because you brought up the smiley psychotic button and how people love all that old stuff, and you
Yeah,
have been going through all your old stuff as of late.
I have been.
Look
I
at
have.
this. Brian's whittling down his personal PC collection. Look at this.
Well,
Is
I'm
this
not whittling
all
it down. I'm just getting it organized. So yeah, I've been
okay?
I've been
Okay.
having fun having a trip down memory lane. I just realized, now that Tucson Comic Con's done, in my mind, although I'm in Arizona, it's the fall, so I'm going to do some collecting, organizing, and my personal Chaos Comics collection is supposed to be comprised of 2 of everything. So I'm just kind of getting it back in order, and I've come across some really fun onesies, and it's great to see
Was
Stephen
that
Hughes.
signed by Steven
Shout out to
down
that
there?
super chat. Ronnie, thank you for the super chat. He says, awesome show,
Thank you.
McClay is my comic Jesus. Well, it
Hell
is
yeah.
what it is.
I think I'm on record. I'm the first person to call you Comic Jesus.
I think
aren't
you
I, Brian?
I think you are, but yeah,
All right,
this
just
look at
making sure.
this. Signed by Stephen Hughes and
Yeah,
one of
one of
1,000.
So that's neat. So in our history, late F1 came out, but there was this wonderful man named Glenn Hammonds who owned a company called Raw Comics, and he specialized in outlaw indies like Faust, Cry for Dawn, that kind of stuff. And so he carried our line, and he wanted to do a quote unquote limited edition, which we did. And this is much vaunted among collectors. And honestly, I was so happy to reacquaint myself with it because it was one of the burning questions I had is like, it's a grail for people to have a raw edition. So I'm like, do I have a raw edition? I don't remember. So it was great to reconnect with that. And I also like going back and seeing how Steven signed the books and how I signed the books. Like in my early incarnation of my signature, which has evolved through the years, I call that old one the Earthquake because it was just like a lot of squiggles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been remarkable. So here's a couple other odd things I came up with. So I'm going through all my stuff, organizing it, and then I'm counting up pages written. So at that era, not including any of the licensed stuff, I either wrote or published 6,250 pages during the Coffin era, give or take, but that's that. I haven't counted up the individual books. So what you're looking at here is kind of fun. Back in the 90s, we had people called letter hackers. There were people who wrote letters to comic books and they would get published. So during the publication of Evil Ernie number 1 through 5, we had a letters page. And when I knew I was going to spin off and do my own thing, I contacted all those letter hackers and gave them a preview. And it was limited to 50 copies. And that blue version of that ash can is the thing that I sent to them. Wow. And so I would get letters back that we could then use for our letters pages, because the great majority of our 90s Chaos Comics stuff all had letters pages, and it was kind of the internet of yesteryear, right? Because
yeah.
But see, you were really smart though, because I talked to publishers over the last 10 years, and one of the first things I tell them, I'm like, who are your top 100 fans? Well, yeah. I don't know.
I totally know.
Fucking Brian Pulido knew who his top 50 fans were 30 years ago. I can't get you sons of bitches to start identifying who your biggest fans are and utilizing them.
So I have, Dennis, this is interesting. I have a recent theory. I came back from San Diego Comic Con. I saw a lot of my peers. I saw some of the new startups, and I have a theory. I have a theory that comic book publishers do not market to customers.
Nope.
My theory is that comic book publishers market to other publishers and peers.
Yes.
Yep.
And Emmet and I had this exact same conversation about 5 times at San Diego. They don't give one shit past selling the 3 of us retailers.
Yep.
Here's the other interesting thing about that. The other interesting thing is that the promotion in that game has changed so rapidly in the last 5 years that I think that they're lost.
It could be true. Yeah, I'm just very surprised because I was walking away with that idea where I'm like, why aren't you appealing to the person who's your customer? Like, morning, noon, and night, you see me on at my booth, and it's like I just want to make people happy because I know who my customer is. I mean, I love meeting my peers and I like commiserating, but that's generally for like after hours. And my customer is my customer. It's not my peer. I'm not trying to impress my peer. I mean, if I impress them, good news. But I am marketing for a customer.
Yeah,
So
there's very few. There's real quick.
ahead,
There's
Brian.
very few creators out there who are at their booth the whole time at the con.
Right.
Yeah,
And
it's
you're
weird.
up front, right there. You're so approachable and accessible at the cons, and you're right. That is weird. That they don't. That isn't the way anymore.
It's crazy because it's a premium booth space. Like myself, Billy Tucci, we're like putting in the hours.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know, that's how I view it. And obviously people view it differently. Also, I was at Terrificon just a couple weeks ago. Great con, real comic centric. And a lot of big names, the flavors of the moment there, all that kind of stuff. And I was also surprised by the sheer amount of breaks people took. Because again, I'm different. I'm from working class, and it's like I have never signed in Connecticut, and I'm no better than anybody saying this, but I have never signed in Connecticut, so I'm going to be on this floor as long as I possibly can the whole time to meet any single person who wants to meet me because I want to meet them. But the whole idea of like, I'm flitting in for 2 hours and I'm flitting out.
Right.
I mean, I'm getting a little older, so maybe I'll take a lunch break. But other than that,
Right.
Brian,
Well,
I just sent you a picture on IG I want to talk about in a second.
There's two things. So the first thing, you front, which means you're always in front of your table.
Yeah.
If you're in back of your table, you will come out from the back of your table to the front to greet, which is amazing to do that. Even us, we don't hand the bag to the customer. We walk around the counter and hand the bag to the consumer. The second thing is, how did 10,000 print runs go down to 500 is better than 10,000? When did you realize less is better?
I mean, it was really a practical consideration, and it was also the advent of digital printing. So digital printing, I think the first printer of that was a company that eventually folded called Comic Express out of New Jersey. And that idea that you could print one of something that was unique, of course, that just like lit up my collector mind. And in a very practical sense, when I restarted for Coffin Comics, I really was starting from the beginning. I was cash strapped. Couldn't even, I mean, if you go back to comics in 2005, 6, 7, super flat, even at cons, it kind of made you kind of want to rethink your values. So the practical thing was to minimize the outlay of cash, create something that possibly is exciting for people, and see if it works. So when it did start to work, and I began to do cons basically just to make my living, I would repeat that, find cool covers, pop them on there. And I at this point, as we're sitting, I think that started a trend. The whole micro print run concept, it's very practical in a sense. It's defined by how much people want or not want. And that's possible through digital printing. It's not possible through offset based printing, because that's the bigger, higher print run stuff you see in comic shops. So
I'll give a shout out. You know who I really think was the first person to figure that out was Tom Hutchinson at Big Dog.
There you go.
He was making those little micro print runs per convention and selling out of them. And I honestly think I saw him just in that brief moment in time before the rest of the people were catching on to it.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I mean, my first digital print run of anything was August 30th, 2007.
And I think he was like 05, 06.
There you go. And that's when somewhere, I think digital printing began in 05. Yeah. It's really
one
cool.
of the things that I think Brian is one of the first people to do on top of the micro print runs I think has made it just absolutely amazing is this right here. Let's see if we can get that on there.
Is that a metal book?
It is a
legacy
numbered.
serial numbers.
107 of 150 on the cover, which is absolutely amazing. I'm trying to get this
I
to
love it,
focus.
dude. I think there it is. Like you can see that that's the run. That's all it is.
Yep.
I used to, when I started the digital printing, I actually didn't even think it was possible. I didn't realize that each individual thing that rolled off could be unique. So I was numbering stuff by hand, and which actually has its own charm now. So like a lot of the OG collectors want that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought to be able to do that in digitally is super cool. I'm still totally stoked by that because there it is. You know, it's unique.
Yep.
Well, and the rest of the industry is starting to follow suit. Finally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think for Brian and Coffin Comics, it's sustainable. I don't think it is for the industry. I just think it just is reaching saturation. Like a grandma could, you know, go, oh, my kid drew this and I want to do 50 comic covers of it. You know?
It's a very interesting. I really don't know how. I hear you, and I wonder myself where it's all going to shake out. Where, you know, with all the, you know, the advent of like tons of retail variants off of, you know, a given book, like how is that really good or bad for the industry over time? It's I think the jury's out on that one. But yeah, we try to.
Your business model is very different, right? You are creating. It's your IP.
Yep.
It's your stories. It's sustainable in that faction. But when people are buying, you know, this one image book, 30 different people are making the same book.
Yeah.
It's just a different cover then, right?
Yes.
It's not an individual. It's not the excitement that you create with your product.
That's what we try to do. I mean, I hear you. And I think, you know, I wonder, you know, if you put it in, I put a lot of things in farming terms, and I wonder if people are over harvesting, you know, and if you don't till the soil and you don't like make sure that it has nutrients, you know, what are you leaving? You know, you're scraping off the ground. I wonder if people are over harvesting.
Well, I think the analogy that I was using a couple of years ago was you can spread the butter too thin.
Yeah. Oh, we've all seen it. We've all done it too. I've done it myself, and we've seen it for sure.
Well, in the whole thing, and you brought up Francisca and how, you know, she is so important to Coffin Comics and the brand. Obviously your longtime partner, and we went to San Diego this year, and my first thing that I always do whenever I go to San Diego Comic Con is I stop at one place first every year, and that's to go talk to Brian. It's just become a ritual.
It's funny. 2 years ago, first day, remember where I ran into you?
Yeah.
That was the first time I ever met you. Was I walked in the door with my kids? Yeah, and then this was last year, and this was us shouting out to Jesse. Actually, that's why I wanted to bring it up. But Jimmy Palmiotti was just chilling out over talking to Brian. You know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and so this year, you know, I went up and Fran was chilling with you, and we started talking, and the topic of Coffin Launch came up. And this was a really cool moment for me just to witness it. And because, you know, you two are great together. It's fun to see you two together and watch you two, because I started talking about it and you said to me, you go, you know, it's all her. She is the one that you know came up, that really pushed this, and you could see her kind of get like proud and kind of look at you, and that was a really cool moment to see her be excited about something that, you know, she came up with this thing, and it's turned into this amazing moment for not just Coffin Comics but for the industry of comics, to have you guys have your own crowdfunding platform, which is unreal.
It's absolutely unreal. So yeah, Francisca, it was January 25. We'd been ruminating on it for a while, but we started putting it in action. January 24, started putting it in action, and spent the better part of all last year building the infrastructure, getting it ready, testing it. So we tested it with groups of fans, top customers, all that stuff. They worked confidentially and gave us feedback. In fact, none of us at Coffin Comics were responsible for the name Launch. Launch was a great idea proposed by a super fan named Mike Madigan. And we rewarded Madigan handsomely for for this name, which seemed to really connect and solidify and focus what we were doing, because we just had this generic placeholder name. So we tested it and tested it and tested it. We did groups of 25, get feedback, make adjustments. We did that 3 times. And then when we launched our first launch, which was Lady of Savage Rain, we learned so much again in the first 36 hours of what we had to adapt and learn. And the whole process is continuing to learn. But yeah, Coffin Launch.
Go
Sorry,
ahead. Go. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Coffin Launch just grew out of this idea that we wanted to reduce fees and increase profitabilities. But in no disrespect to Kickstarter, we're actually on very good terms with those guys and gals. My life has changed forever due to Kickstarter. Kickstarter is awesome. I had a peer who's just getting in the game, who just done a very successful Kickstarter, saying, "Man, is it time for me?" And I'm like, "It is not time for you." Kickstarter is phenomenal. It has a discovery engine that is incomparable. You are right where you need to be. But for us, what we started thinking is that we should be able to stand on our own 2 feet with our basic publishing model. So like the basic stories that we want to tell, we should be able to tell it direct, as we are doing now. Now, we've been upfront the whole time that we do see using Kickstarter in the future for special projects. It is just so wonderful for like giant omnibuses and these audacious, ridiculous, giant hardcovers. But we did want to increase profitability, and we did want to reduce fees. And we did meet with Kickstarter at San Diego Comic Con, kind of gave a catch up. And I would say to date, that's exactly what we've done. I mean, almost to the dollar, we're hitting our numbers. And several campaigns have exceeded our expectations. One like nailed it like to the dollar, kind of crazy. One was under. So we're learning a lot of stuff during it. But overall, like it's doing what we would hope it would do, which is to reduce fees, increase unit profitability, and over time, increase our speed to get the books to our customers.
And you just finished a campaign recently, or a launch recently, and now you have another one getting ready to start with the Mike Morg campaign, which is awesome.
So our next one is Mike Morg. It's near and dear to my heart. I know people know me for my crazy supernatural witches, but I do love some bloody monster comic books. And so just like my first ever Evil Ernie, I'm introducing a cousin-like character named Mike Morg. Very different.
Awesome.
Ernie was clearly a bad guy. Morg is actually like a good guy, but in a really crappy situation. But for fans who did like the ultra-violence, comedy, and heart they found in Evil Ernie, Mike Morg delivers that in spades. The artwork is by Jose Luis, who is actually currently the artist on Daredevil, and he's done a bang-up job. I'm holding a cool double-page spread he just did.
Wow.
Nice.
That's
gorgeous.
color. Love to show you guys some of his pencils because they are really crazy.
So what I was trying to tell you earlier, and you can keep talking keep showing while you do this.
Okay.
The first time I heard Coffin Launch, I couldn't get it out of my head. All I could see was the scene in Poltergeist when the coffins all came up and the cadavers were launching out of the. That was all I could picture when I heard Coffin Launch.
Right. Yeah, we've even done some graphics to do just that.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Well, what's great about it. This is what's great about this marketing, and because obviously I have a marketing background, corporate and all that, is you're using the color green, which in the marketing world is calmness.
Yes.
Yet Coffin Comics does not sell calmness.
No.
I think that is awesome. Obviously, green is growth as well, but I just think it's awesome how you use this color green to represent almost this opposite use of green.
It's interesting. Sometimes with all of us, we'll start speaking for myself. So I'll start perhaps with a complex idea, but I'm always trying to boil things down to like an emotional essence. So like you said, green means a lot of things. Green also means go. Green is commonly associated with fundraising generally, psychologically. So yeah, there was a lot of reasons why we'll use like these very basic colors. And, it usually comes from a psychological background. What's its impact on people? But yeah, as you're rifling through this campaign that's about to launch on Thursday, Mike Morg is an ultraviolent tale of this poor kid, kind of like in a Frankenstein-like situation. He's being highly manipulated by a mad scientist, Dr. Rigsdale, who's trying to control life over death. And in our particular chapter, Mike is just sick and tired of running, and it's time to take it to back to Dr. Rigsdale's mad mansion of monster insanity. Now, that picture you're looking at right now is by J Photos, and that is Mike Morg's pal, Riley, whose brain was transferred into a rat, and his name is Ratso. So our story really is about Mike Morg and his pal Ratso, as pictured here on this gorgeous page by Jose Luis. This is one of these pivotal moments in the story where he kind of rises up out of the ground. He's like, I'm sick and tired of like taking shit from this MF, so now I got to take it to him. And yeah, Ratso is, it's interesting. Poor Mike is upset about his circumstance. Ratso actually doesn't mind that he's a rat. So he actually is a great trusted advisor to poor Mike, who's just tumbling through. And I guess also at this part in the story, he's finally realizing these things, these kill fists, which are suck the life force out of people. That's something that he actually could control. It's actually, instead of something he's a victim of, he can take control of. I think here's one of these, another one of these moments where Mike is finally settling into his vibe, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go take it. I'm going to go take it to these MFs. So again, beautiful Jose Luis artwork. This one for me is really from the heart. This is really what I love. Ultra-violent horror comics with a little heart, a little comedy. And I'm saying this on your show tonight. I know that Mike Morg may not have a print run of 2 zillion copies, but there's going to be a handful of people out there who read this comic book, and it will touch them, and it will be their favorite comic of all time. I promise that. And I also...
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. No.
I mean, finally, I will also promise this, that for people who read the first chapter, and there were over 1,000 people who backed our first campaign, that I almost guarantee that there will come a point in this story where tears will come out of your eyes. Wow. Because again, this one's from the heart, and if you're invested in these characters, it's going to make you feel something.
I love that.
It's really given me Chaos 2000 WWF vibes.
Perfect. Well, it's from the same guy. I can't help it, Dennis.
Yeah, I know. No, it's but you know, for me, I've re-business modeled my entire thing. Yeah. And I know how much the nostalgia factor is a big hit with the customers that I have. Yeah. This is right up the line to kind of hit a lot of those chords. Yeah. No, I know. And it's smart to do that. I mean, you know, you're a 30-year plus IP now. It's still around for a reason. Yeah. And again, it really is strangely from the heart. It's a very dark heart with a little twist in it, but so be it. So yeah, that's Coffin Launch and its presence. Going good. We have 2 more this year. We are speeding up delivery. We had some internal stuff to work on. Let me back up a minute. So when a Kickstarter campaign ends on a given day, the creator is funded 10 working days later. In that interim, Kickstarter itself is collecting the funds and then dispersing them. And then there is a survey period, which could last whatever time people want, 1 day, 2-3 weeks. So we've eliminated all that. We don't have surveys because people fill out all their forms right ahead of time, even like their t-shirt sizes. So smart. And when we close, we collect funds, and that is the green light for us to go. And I think we've cut down about 2 weeks. Our objective in time is to cut off 4 weeks grand total.
There is one of the toughest things, and I talk about this all the time on the channel. It's such a small thing about Kickstarter and crowdfunding and the comics hobby. If you don't go back and fill out those surveys, you're not going to get your book. And that is such a pain in the neck because we,
It is.
you know, comics is, we love it. And for a lot of us, comics is life, but it's not the only thing in life. And it's hard
Right.
to remember that. And sometimes you don't get your books or your, whatever you're crowdfunding, because you forgot to go back, you know, when it was over to fill out your survey or something. That just is such a stupid thing to me. And I'm so glad that you guys have gotten rid of that, probably for other reasons, but
Yeah, no, we got rid of that. I mean, and even we keep 2 years worth of unfulfilled survey orders. You know, it's like a whole row, and it's like, please come out of the woodwork, because we proactively go after them. We have full-time customer service staff, right? So we go after these people. Please answer your survey. Where are you? And usually what happens is people change their email, they move, they become unattainable. Then the extra funny thing is people will eventually come out of the woodwork. We still go back to the old campaigns and see if, you know, people are popping up, and they'll say, you know, damn it, this thing, have you ever shipped this thing? You know, you comic creators, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, hey, bro, just, you didn't fill out, here's the evidence. You didn't fill out your survey. We're happy to get you your stuff. It's all good. We're cool. Here we go.
I
So
want to
yeah,
ask
we don't
you,
have that. We do not have that issue with launch at all. It's essentially, it's an order.
I want to
So
ask you a little bit of a touchy subject when it comes to crowdfunding in comics, and it's
yeah,
probably the number one touchy subject, and that is unfulfilled
yeah,
campaigns. And
it's tough.
yeah, and you know, we recently had something similar happen with a group of guys that were trying to do a pre-code horror campaign that just
Oh
really
my.
blew up in their faces.
Have they
Uh,
finally fulfilled that, Brian?
I don't think so. They still haven't fulfilled it, as far as I
Jesus
know.
Wow.
Christ.
I
Yeah.
have mine.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause-
shut up, Emmet.
yeah, yeah,
Brutal.
yeah. So,
So
what is your take on the whole, you know, unfulfillment of the campaigns and this whole thing that happens? You know, it's like a little bystander product.
So it's super sad, right? It's look, you want to be a promise. I don't I believe that Coffin Comics has built a business based on trust. And trust means being your promise. And if you can't be your promise, be upfront about it. And I think if you stick to those kinds of rules, you're going to be okay. However, you know, those guys that you're talking about, they actually promised delivery, if you'll notice, originally that December,
Yeah.
last December. And, you know, it's tragic because that is a company that has some potential, but there's now some toxicity and pollution around them because they're just not being their promise. They're not fulfilling, and you know, they've taken a significant amount of money. All I know is this: if there's a concept called speed of trust. Trust can help you accelerate your business. And it's simple. You got to be your word. If you can't be your word, manage it. Hey, I promised it on Tuesday, but it's going to be Wednesday. So just be transparent. So my view on people who aren't that, who don't fulfill, it probably has a negative effect on crowdfunding as a whole, because we all hear people talk about it that way. Like people come to us, even during, you know, our Kickstarter era or current era, they're like, well, you know, crowdfunding has such a bad reputation. We say we acknowledge that, but you really have to look at our reputation separately. So, I mean, there's that. And then another element is, I guess that's just how people roll. And it is unfortunate. I think we've all been burned by crowdfunding campaigns that never fulfilled. And it's tragic. And also people really don't get second chances. So like you're the project.
But 35 years in this industry, I mean, how many people didn't finish a comic series that they swore to the publisher they were going to finish?
Yeah, that's
probably around the same amount of people. Just, you know, like they published 1, 2, and 3, but never got 4 and 5, you know,
that's true.
Or whatever.
That's true. Well, as long as they didn't, I mean, look, that's one of the trips and trials of comics publishing. And as long as they didn't take people's money,
yep.
Okay, that's that. But as soon as you take people's money and disappear, or you're out of communication, or you're defensive, or you know, you just sound like you're spouting bullshit, that's another thing. And I think that's what leads to people not trusting it.
I've got the bigger third rail question.
Okay.
And we've talked about this with you before. AI art and IP theft. You just put on a convention. Do you have something in your convention writers to your booth vendors about AI?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I know that there was a big brouhaha about Dragon Con, but I was just scratching my head because at a contractual level, we don't allow AI. And candidly, we police it. So we do police all that kind of stuff. So we don't make a big deal out of it because it's just like, I don't know, it's in our DNA. It is literally in our contracts with all our vendors. We have no AI art. Also, in our company, we don't employ AI art. It's in our contracts with people. We don't knowingly, quote unquote, we don't. And it's in our contracts. Full stop. That's it. We side with real life artists because we are real life artists. Full stop. Whole story.
Hell yeah.
Well, we do, but we know where your stance is on IP theft from, certain people who we won't mention who tried to steal Lady Death for their own purposes.
Yep.
But where do you also are you extending that AI line and the IP theft hate to a lot of these people who are stealing IP for comic book covers, for parody covers, and for production of prints that they don't have the authorization to do?
So I'll put it to you this way, really simply. Coffin Comics rigorously protects its intellectual property. No matter what you see, no matter what you hear, no matter what you think, no matter what the deadline or timeline is, that is true. And we are in a time of an unbelievable torrent of intellectual property theft across the board. And for everything that you know or see or refer to, there are literally hundreds of things behind the scenes. So what that has required us as a company to do is to register as intellectual property owners on like every platform you could imagine. Temu, Etsy, obviously eBay, Amazon, other areas, and we protect our IP. It is I'm sorry to say that it is like a whack-a-mole. So one of the recent, and so we're whack-a-moling them for sure. One of the recent trends that's outrageous is the 3D models that people, do as fan stuff. Some of them are quite great, but still, it's intellectual property theft. So we do everything in our power to stop that in all countries that we can control. Right. But there are countries like China where you can't. Like legally, we can't touch it. But there are motherships of 3D printable files in Asia that has like 300 to 500 Wolverines, 200 Vampirellas. It is mind-boggling. When I was in Comic Con, I talked to some known intellectual property lawyers. We have our own, and then we know people as peers or friends or information trading. And I said, what's the end game here? And they just acknowledged that right now it really is a torrent. But I'll tell you what I tell everybody. It's Coffin Comics will protect its intellectual property rigorously. However you see it, however you think you feel it, in the present or in the future, it's never over until it's over. And we are always happy to collect all the evidence that we need to institute whatever cases we choose to do in the future. And that is what I have to say on that topic.
And also, let's be honest, I think because you do that and you are known for doing that, I think that you have less of that happening. I mean, don't get me wrong, you have it happening, but because it's known, like, hey, you're gonna get clipped if you try to do this. People are thinking twice about it, and that's important. They know that you protect your IP.
I do, and they should really reconsider, because again, whatever people think that's happening in the future, whatever actions they take, they think that the time has passed. The time hasn't passed. There are statutes of limitations on these things, and sometimes it's just better to accrue as much evidence as you humanly can to make your case.
Yeah,
correct.
Now, do you ever license your stuff out to anyone?
I mean,
you hold all of it.
So we have, and that's the other reason why we have to protect the intellectual property for things like our 3D licenses. So we have licenses with Sideshow Collectibles, Quarantine Studios, PCS Collectibles, Loose Collector, and Executive Replicas, to name a few, for 3D. So it's incumbent upon us. We have to protect the market's our job. So, that's why we do that. And then particularly when things go to print, same thing, we have to. And we have, not only do we have legal counsel for that, but we also have very, very enthusiastic persecutor of that particular case within our company, a person who actually relishes and enjoys it. And, it's funny. there's a trend happening on Etsy where there is a group using the words lady and death together because it appeared in the middle of a YA book. And so we with Etsy's cooperation, those are shut down. But I got to tell you, man, we get the letters of justification and, how they feel about it. And, same thing with like on Deviant Art, when we see those, people are like, hey, this was up for years. I can't believe you're doing this. You're hurting our living. And, all I can really say in response is Coffin Comics will protect its intellectual property rigorously. And that's just what we do at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm actually baffled that some of our peers don't do it as much because I see the stuff that's out there and it's like, whoa, someone better stop this because it's just floodgates.
Brian, I'm glad you said that because it's starting. That is one of the things that I've noticed over the last 5 or 6 months, that these artists' peers are starting to call each other out. As a matter of fact, we talked about Mike Crome. Mike Crome was in a story we talked about recently about calling another artist out. And we're starting to see that. Nathan Zerdy has done it. There's other guys that are starting to say, hey, we don't appreciate that. And when you start seeing that happen, you know that the tides are turning a little bit. That's a very important moment.
It is. I also think, I wonder what people get into comic books for. Like, I for better or for worse, I got into just tell the stories that I want to tell. When I was a kid.
Right.
What's that?
I said that the ones you want to tell, I was echoing it. I was like, that's exactly what it should be all about, right?
I should think so. And then, people, you could see just these cynical people coming in. They're just trying to make the cheddar. But it's like, I could warn people. It's like, you're all just chasing nickels and dimes. If you really want to make money, it's not going to be in comics. Like, I think I was having a conversation with Rob Michaels, and it's like, look, some people have made some really good money in comics. There's no doubt about it. I myself, I feel blessed how comics have treated me, but this ain't like, you're not like a professional athlete money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to be in this field to begin with, you have to be kind of fated to want to be part of it. It's got to suck you in and you can't leave it as a point of beginning. And to think that there's these people coming in, like they're trying to make their nickels and dimes. It's like, you're just choosing the wrong profession for this. Cause eventually you're going to get outed by it.
We're just real fast, Dennis. Chasing the cheddar.
Yeah, that's right.
And mystery the biscuit.
Let's get your opinion on mystery bags. Chasing the cheddar and mystery bags.
I mean, look, it's hell. I'll probably do one. People are chasing the cheddar right now, and you can't blame them. We've all seen the trends. And you either play or you don't play. It's a moment in time. So, the cool Mark Spears mystery bags, we've seen it. It's a moment in time. And if you can do it, go do it. I have been the beneficiary of these crazy moments in time where, in August of 1994, our wholesale sales through Diamond for that month were $1 million.
7 figures. Yep.
And good for us. And, it lasts however long it lasts. I think, everyone's going to hump the blind bag. Hell, I'll probably hump the blind bag. And then, it'll go the way of the dodo. That's what happens.
Billy Tucci tells the story that when he got that first order for Cyblade, I think it was.
Oh, my God.
And it was a 7-figure check, and he bought everyone he knew a Jeep. and he bought a building, and he was like, yeah. It was. But that was 1990s money, 7 figures. Yeah. Those checks aren't anywhere our industry is right now.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So blind bags, I'm like, hey, go for the ride. Just don't be there at the tail end of the ride.
Right. Yeah. Like Chromium. You did very well in Velvet, Leatherbound. Those are some very iconic Lady Death moments.
Yeah, I think also even things like, the advent of the metal comic book, we came together with Jacob Stem, Fairy Metal Photography, and the first artist was Rob Michaels, and, that industry popped up around that enhancement.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy, man?
It's crazy.
Listen, I think one of the coolest things about, Brian Pulido and his creations throughout the years is you have been there, big parts of the history of comics in a major way, in multiple times, multiple platforms. And I'm just glad that you join us to kind of talk about this and relish in them, because there's a lot of things that people, don't know the history of comics, like you guys do. And it's fun to be able to talk about them. I want to get your thoughts real quick on this, this type of platform, and what are your feelings on social media and how it affects comics these days?
Keep in mind that my perspective is all Coffin all the time. I'm a little less of like the scenester, what's going on, the trends on Twitter. Like I literally have never made a post on Twitter my whole career, so I don't know what's going on there. I think social media is a tool, and it could be used positively or negatively. It kind of depends on what your agenda is. Your business model is based on division, or your business model is based on uniting. I chose uniting, for very simple reasons. It's something my dad, an old World War II vet, said to me. When I was a teenager, I was getting kind of a negative worldview and negative attitude about things. And my dad just pulled me aside. He's like, Brian, I got to tell you, I really know what you don't like. But what I really want to know from you is, what do you like? And it was a mind-blowing moment for me, because I felt embarrassed. I'm like, holy mackerel, my dad kind of called me out on this view of things that I was having. It just shifted up the game for me. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to be more about like what I'm interested in, as opposed to what I'm trying to tear down. And it just became a view. So I think social media could be used in all ways. I do think like a good, contentious, robust discussion is really helpful. And I think, I acknowledge Dennis for being like the real stalwart for that. I mean, I think Dennis is always, I always want to listen to what you have to say. Your delivery is your delivery, but there's just so much truth to it. So I think there's room for all kinds of views. But we generally, with social media, try to use it in a positive manner. But I will say the actual mechanisms of social media are ever changing. The algorithms are changing. The access that the platform is giving you to your own audience is changing. I mean, it changes.
Yeah.
And it's something we talk about almost on a weekly basis, which is, okay, what's the newfangled weird thing that's happening on this social media or that social media? And I'm not even talking about culturally. I'm just talking about the mechanism itself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's very interesting. Real quick, you bring up, our fathers, especially for men, our fathers, like, they have those abilities to kind of like, really cut through it and give it to you. And shout out to my pops, who was in the chat earlier tonight. And speaking of Dennis, how you love Dennis, my dad also loves Dennis, and he wears the hat proudly. Make the comic industry great again. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's my hat right there.
That's
the
hat that Dennis gave my pops. So that's a lot of fun right there.
I've got a quote that's just been rattling around in my head for the last 2 weeks since I heard it. And it kind of goes along with, I think, just you in general. Being right ahead of your time is indistinguishable from being wrong. How many people, when you did something that eventually turned out to be considered right, how many people told you, you're wrong, Brian, this is not the direction to go, and you kept doing it because you knew somewhere in your recesses that you were right and that you were ahead of your time, and then time goes on and then you're proven correct?
All the time, dude. And I'm not even like super enrolled by it. I am used to naysayers. It's the nature of being lone wolf sometimes. People counting you out. I mean, look, I've been counted out in my career at times too. And at times my career has been counted out. And that's just life in the fast lane. But no, it goes without saying that it happens all the time. And I'm really comfortable with it, because I guess for me, I'm willing to put in the work, and I'm willing to make the bet. That's kind of where I'm coming from. And I'm also willing to take the risk. So those three factors, being counted out, I've been really lucky too, where words come out of human beings' mouths, sometimes with great venom and anger and vengeance. And they're very enrolled in it, and they're very excited by the words that they're saying. But Dennis, from the very bottom of my heart, this is what I hear.
Yep. Wah, 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 wah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are people I will listen to and I respect
Oh yeah.
their view, and I will consult as I do. I think you guys know that. But yeah, on the average person who's
That's
Well, and
great
that's
advice.
you said it earlier. Like you respect what I say. My delivery is what it is, and the amount of people. I've thank God for Facebook memories because it brings up all of these wisdom chunks that I've thrown out in the past 15 years. And oh, yep, that was true. Oh, look
Yeah.
at all these people that disagreed with me. They
Right.
were wrong. Oh, wait, I was right on that. Remember when I dropped that box of comics on Diamond and said, this is you damaging our product. And if you don't do this, I'm going to leave. And
Yeah.
how many, and where were they at now? Just all of these moments
Yeah.
where people told me I was wrong because of the way I delivered that message to them. But time and patience proved I was right. And that just reminds me of you because I know I've been in this industry. I don't know, just like those wizard people bitching about, oh, he's got too many titties in his comics. That's never going to keep, that's never going to have longevity. Eventually, men will grow out of looking at titties and Brian will be there holding his titty comics. No, it never fucking happened because we still want to see some titty comics from Brian Pulido.
That's
Amen.
right.
Amen.
Well, dude, I am always careful to listen to the groupthink.
Yeah.
And I'm always interested in the person who thinks differently. And that's probably where you and I have had a lot of commonality is like, I am willing to listen, because there's always, to me, what has guided me is the think different people are the guide.
Yeah. Amen on
Yeah.
that one, especially in this
Yep.
in this hobby and industry, in the comics industry, right?
Well, I mean, I can't count how many people who probably told you and I we were wrong who are nowhere near our industry anymore.
Yeah.
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 And again, like in my view, I just keep doing what it is that I got to do. It's like, it's the thing that I committed to get done what I want to get done. It's all in service to that. So like, the naysayers and the opinions and, it's like, okay, that's kind of, you, I guess I'm in your head because you ain't in mine. I'm just doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've had you for an hour and a half here, and we want to let you get back to the world of creating comics. But I want to remind everybody that if you guys aren't paying attention to Coffin Launch, you need to go check it out. You guys can find the link in the description. They've got the Mike Moore campaign getting ready to start in about a day here. They've been doing great things ever since they started Coffin Launch. Go check it out. Mike Morg is going to be a great comic, and I think you guys, obviously, as Brian has said, it's going to tear at the heartstrings and give you everything you want from a Brian Pulido comic. So
It's true.
That's a big deal. Also, make sure you guys go check out coffincomics.com for all of that. There's so much stuff over there, but also Swornfest. You got what is this?
142 days.
Come on
14
out.
hours, 14 minutes.
Without exaggeration, Swornfest is actually it's a spiritual experience for people. I mean, if you like this kind of comics, you will meet your people here. Within 5 minutes of attending Swornfest, you will have new best friends. No one is a stranger at Swornfest. It is just a remarkable thing that has its own wonderful
chemistry. Do you have dealer tables at Swornfest?
We don't. All we have are guest artists and licensees. So like the game guys will be back.
What if a retailer who has a giant amount of amazing early Lady Death and Chaos stuff wanted to get a table at Swornfest? Could you?
We would entertain that conversation. We would entertain that conversation for sure. And we do have a thing. We have a trading post for fans, and we have a professional trading post where known resellers can buy time. But I mean, honestly, if someone came out of the woodwork, like poor Glenn Hammonds, rest in peace, who just had this magnificent collection, of course we'd invite him because it'd be to everybody's benefit.
Right.
Hell yeah.
We'll have to discuss that, Brian.
Fair enough. Sounds good.
Well, ladies and
guys,
gentlemen,
the thing that I would like to say to each of you guys is thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your brotherhood. Thank you for the conversations that we have late at night. And this is a very strange and peculiar business we chose. I don't think it chose us. I don't think we chose it. I think it chose us. So it's great to have people to go, great friends to go on the journey together through the madness that we call comics.
Amen.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
brother.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brother. One of the best representatives for a comic collector and creator right here, Brian Pulido, ladies and gentlemen.
There
Thank
go.
you. We'll
Thanks
see you
so
next
much,
time.
everybody. Really appreciate your time. Have a great night.
Later,
Take
brother.
care,
All
man.
right. See you later, Brian.
What-
Oh, one of the good guys right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
He's
yeah.
No,
definitely
and one of my
the
favorite
best.
things about Brian is in just the years of friendship that we've had, I posted it. I bought this giant 7-Eleven cup collection just so I could finish out my collection. And then immediately Brian's like, dude, are you selling those? Here's my list of which ones I need. And we're going back and forth. And he's like, how much do I owe you? I'm like, your money's no good for me. Send me some fucking Lady Death variants. And so he sent me a nice little big stack of Lady Death variants. And I said, I got him I think 15 or 20 of his Slurpee cups.
That's awesome. That's what it's about, man. I think
Yeah.
Brian hit it on the head. That brotherhood, that's so important. I have learned that in a major way, that fellowship and that brotherhood is what causes me to stay in this hobby and have it be such a big part of my life. You know, I used to love going to conventions to go get all the favorite things that I wanted to get. Now, I rarely buy things at conventions. It's just to go to see my brothers and my friends and have that fellowship. And I think that Coffin Comics and Brian Pulido is one of those examples of why that's so important.
Yeah.
Sworn Nation.
Yeah,
is
Brian
proof of
calls-
that.
Brian calls me every 2 weeks, and he says, "All right, it's been 2 weeks. How you doing? Good." And then we just talk for
Yep.
like an hour and a half. No pre-call. Hey, have you heard? Nope.
Yeah, that's what it's about. That
Oh, I
fellowship.
noticed you actually changed your camera angle for this episode.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For your Coffin Comics display at
Oh,
Jesse
thank
James
you.
Comics,
Oh yeah.
Look
which
at
was
that.
very impressive when I was
Yeah.
there.
In the background there.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's got a full blown Coffin Comics display back there, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should always. We choose to sell publishers' books, and then we also decide who we are going to partner and brand with, which is even more important than just selling a comic, right? And I think that's very important. Just because I moved 2,800 miles away or 2,300 miles away doesn't mean that we still don't have that same friendship, that conversation, how we promote each other. We just did a awesome exclusive with him. And I think it's very important. What I wanted to say, and I completely forgot, was, obviously I was upset that I missed San Diego Con and I missed Swornfest. And the first thing Shannon told me when she found out Brian was then be on the show was she said, we can miss San Diego Con next year. We can't miss Swornfest.
No.
I'm seriously
Yeah.
considering, Jesse. We should.
Yeah.
I want to get a booth at Swornfest because I bought that giant collection with the refractor foils and all of those really super rare early Lady Death stuff.
Sure.
Love to do something maybe down there.
Yep. All right, let's get into some of the news of the week, ladies and gentlemen. The news of the week
Okay,
continues.
hold on, Brian. I have to stop you. Audience, we had our pre-call last night for the show, and Emmet said, literally at the end of the conversation, I hope something happens with Diamond tomorrow so that we have something else to talk about.
Right.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yep.
How do you even you can't even telegraph how stupid this is. I'll read it while Brian's out. Now Diamond Comics, the debtor, is suing all of the comic book publishers. This was literally an hour before we went live. Diamond debtors are suing comic publishers' very proceedings in alphabetical order, starting with Ablaze, Action Lab, Aftershock, Alien, and American Mythology. In a new legal filing hitting the docket now, Diamond Comics Distributor, Inc. the Diamond debtors in Chapter 11 bankruptcy case have been suing comic publishers, the same comic publishers who own the books stocked by Diamond on consignment, and which the Diamond debtors have been seeking to liquidate and keep the proceeds. The Diamond debtors are separate from Sparkle Pop Ad Populum, which bought Diamond Comics at auction in May and now have their own legal battles with Diamond debtors. Previously, the ad hoc committee made up of Ablaze, American Mythology, Avatar, Battle, Action Lab, Drawn and Quarterly, Green Ronin, the Justice League of publishers,
Right.
Had managed to get the declaration that Diamond had to act against every individual consignment publisher, which appears to be 135 publishers. In the adversary proceedings, a lawsuit within the context of the bankruptcy to claim that consigned stock. There's a second part to that, Brian. At the Diamond oh no. Okay, there. Thank you. You want to pick up, Brian?
Yeah. And the Diamond debtors seem to be issuing these new advisory proceedings in alphabetical order. Ooh, there's a lot of them. As a publication, they have filed against Ablaze, Action Lab, Aftershock.
Just skip all that.
I mean, look at it all.
Yep.
Holy cow.
So
They said there's 135 of them.
So here's the thing. This is the important part of this. The filing from Diamond debtors accuses the publisher of failing to properly secure their interest in the consigned goods by filing a UCC-1 financial statement with the Maryland Department of Assets and Taxation, and that this oversight leaves the inventory vulnerable to claims by its creditors, effectively making it part of the bankruptcy estate, stating the defendant did not perfect any interest in the defendant supplied consigned inventory by filing one of or more of the UCC-1 financial statements with the Maryland Department of Assets and Taxation or otherwise. Basically, they're saying you were dressed that way, so why shouldn't we?
Wow, this is crazy.
Yeah. So the funny part about this, and I continue to say this on every show.
What Jesse's been saying.
If you don't file within the 30 days, you officially have abandoned your product. Now, what Diamond is doing, which is, obviously we have to be careful on what we say. I guess I could say this as an opinion.
Why should we start now?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think we're at this point where, we'll just say what we have to say. You need to really be smart with when you join a group with one lawyer.
Yeah.
Because in the end, you're going to be effed. And what Diamond is saying, we're going to sue each one of you. And guess what? I guarantee you, each one of you do not have a lawyer that you can afford to do this. You cannot represent yourself in this bankruptcy. You have to have a lawyer represent you. The second you, like Barucci did, the judge said, "What are you doing? I can't listen to you. Where's your lawyer?" That's what they're doing here. This is it's kind of like when they said yesterday, well, Sparkle never bought the consignment items. They didn't have to buy the items. They assumed those when they bought Diamond, when they won the auction with Diamond. They assumed them. They didn't buy them. And I think there's this separation.
But we have a very interesting statement tonight on this show from Brian Pulido, which was Brian had already shipped out one order to Diamond and said, "Hey guys, after this, we're going to suspend everything until you get your shit together." And they said, no, Brian, no, everything's fine. Ride the wave with us. And Brian said, "Nope, we're out.
Nope, we're out.
Call us when you're done."
Exactly.
But hold on though. But what I'm about to say kind of throws in the face of that. If there are email correspondence with,
I'm just shaking my head. Go ahead.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta get a little bobblehead to be like Darren Davis. Look, that's just Jesse bobbleheading.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. If there's correspondence from Diamond assuring any single one of these publishers, guys, don't worry, your product is safe with us. Leave it here. We'll settle this one that we're out of this. We're coming out of Chapter 11, and we're going to be bigger and better. Our comeback is going to be better than our come on our back. It's you don't remember that? Our comeback is going to be bigger than our setback or whatever.
No, that's not what she said, but
whatever.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But if there's correspondence from Diamond, the same way that they corresponded with Brian and said, guys, don't worry, your product is safe with us, it's going to negate every one of these lawsuits that Diamond is now.
Depends on who sent the email.
Right.
Those people have the power to say that can guarantee them? Probably not.
Yeah.
They all represent, every Diamond employee represents Diamond Comics the same as every one of your employees represents your companies.
Yeah, I think what happens though is bankruptcy is going to negate a lot of that. The notion is once you go bankruptcy, I was reading this article about they kept on sending Diamond these emails. Once you go bankruptcy, you don't have to answer one email from anybody unless the court comes to you.
You know what's funny about this UCC1 form? I received several of these. I don't know why I received them other than it was basically the Maryland court saying, hey, Men in Black LLC, you're a party to this lawsuit. Do you have any claims against the thing? I'm like, I wish I would have filled it out so I'd be on the claims list because Diamond owed me a shitload of money from all the times they fucked up something or other.
Well, there is no longer anything on liquidation sale at Diamond. There are 0 items, comics for sale on liquidation.
That court order stopped that. There was one of the court orders that stopped all that.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is someone got smart and they just had to ask one simple question to the judge, to the court. We are requesting an inventory count. That's all they have to say. Everything stops in its tracks. Doesn't matter if it's Sparkle and it doesn't matter if it's Diamond.
There's one more part to this, which is interesting to me. This is coming from Diamond Original. This is coming from old Diamond. Okay. Right. It's very clear that this has nothing to do with Sparkle Pop. You know what this says to me is Diamond's lawyers are trying, and part of this suit is against Diamond Original as well as Sparkle Pop.
Right.
But it seems to me like these Diamond lawyers are like, oh my God, guys, get over this. We can't collect our checks until the original bankruptcy is settled. And there's $49 million sitting in limbo waiting for us to distribute. And we can't touch any of that for our legal fees, for any of this other stuff that I'm sure they're going to figure out a way to.
$8.7 million just sitting there in lawyer fees on something that if you just look at, again, how many customers care about this? None, right? How many retailers care about this at this point? Very few. Most of the publishers have moved on. Even the publishers in this list, Zenescope has moved on. They're doing what they got to do. They're having these events and they're selling product. That's what you got to do. You can't look backwards. The notion is you're chasing stuff you won't be able to sell anyways, right? The other thing is there's no paper trails per se to even find out what you are owed. I did find it very interesting that when they were filing for the Justice League, they were filing saying you sold 13 million, we want our 13 million. Well, you're not going to get 13 million. You do have commission in there that's involved, right? Regardless if you're allowed to sell this or not, you still have to pay the commission on this.
We don't know if that was post or pre-commission though.
Right. Well, I think they're saying
that's an assumption.
Yeah.
You know, but here's the thing though, and much like Brian said, my lawyer, if ever there was a time for my lawyer and I to open up the books and have all the discussions that we discussed, I remember there was one time, and yes, I have been sued in this industry before. And I sued one of my landlords, and my landlord countersued for a bigger amount, which is a standard tactic in
exactly.
lawsuits. And I told my lawyer, I'm like, look, I'm stubborn as shit. I will pay this much in legal fees just to make sure I don't pay this prick a single penny.
Yeah.
And he was like, but we could settle this for this amount. And I'm like, did I make myself unclear? Yep. I will not pay him a single penny. I will pay you double that amount to make sure I don't pay him a penny. And if we still lose, at least I know I was willing to pay you double the amount to pay zero. And when it was all said and done, and we got to, we actually got the judgment, and then he appealed the judgment, and we actually ended up settling, but the other direction. And when he had to hand me that check for the amount that
Was
the
owed.
difference for the
Yeah.
difference, I said, so did I pay double? He goes, no, actually you paid about the exact amount, which I thought you were going to have to.
Right.
I was like, good. So I still profited, and he didn't get a penny. I was like, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Sometimes stubborn is the right way to go.
Yeah, it's almost the only way to go.
Yes.
So I think in this case, I think what's going to happen is you're going to start seeing publishers saying no mas, and they're going to start walking away, because they're going to realize when you're in that big group, you're looking at these big numbers, but those big numbers don't pertain to the small guy.
Nope.
Well, 13 million. Yeah, but your check is only 3,000. Why are you in this group? Get the F out of Dodge. Go to a swap meet. Go to the local convention. You'll make that right there. Do a Facebook live show. The hell you guys thinking? Move on. This is crazy. I get the top 5 people, 6 down. I'm sorry, man. I'm all for publishers. I'm all for this community, but at some point you have to move on and provide for your business and do the new stuff that you had planned regardless, and figure it out. Your customers will help you if you focus on them and not on the freaking courts.
Right.
There was a comment by Alex Lodemeyer that says, my LCS is being attacked on an unpaid bill, which they paid a year ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm in the same
Alex,
situation.
tell us more about that, please.
Yeah. So I'm in the same position where they have billed me for something that didn't even go to my store. I asked them for the tracking numbers. I go, where is that? That's not in Florida. Who are these people that signed for it? Well, it doesn't matter because your product was in this bill.
I have a funny story to tell that I haven't told on this show, not in the last 9 months. So when it got announced, I contacted one of my friends at Diamond, and I said to them, I want to officially make sure my account is zero, and I would like a letter from Diamond stating so.
Ooh.
Because I knew this could be one of those situations. Just for myself, I was not going to, if I had any outstanding, because during COVID, there was a couple packages that went back to them and blah, blah, blah. And every once in a while, I would see this invoice pop up, and then I would call them, and I'm like, guys, that's the one that went back to you during COVID because Michigan was shut down, and I couldn't be at my warehouse for that week. And, it went back to you, and I told you, you need to send it to my home address because that's the only place we're allowed to be in Michigan. And they didn't send it, and I don't know what was in this box. And all I know is it was $500, and you need to make sure you credit me. And then it would credit, but then about 6 months later, I'd see it again. And I just said, I want a letter of statement saying that I am not one of these retailers that owes you $33 million. And so they had to go back and forth and around. And guess what? I got my letter about 3 or 4 weeks into it. And I just make sure I hold on to that letter. because
But let me ask you this, Dennis. How many
Yes.
stores do you think will freak out and pay that bill?
you know what though, Jesse, you're giving retailers far too much credit. You really are.
Yeah.
At the point at which I've seen so many, I mean, Emmet, you were on board the ship until you realized everybody you wanted was on 2 other ships, and then
Yeah.
you were like gone. I think just like Brian said, I think the retailers have moved on from that, and I think that's a good thing.
Right.
The ones
But
that are still
what I'm saying is they're banking that you're then get this very small percentage of retailers who are going to pay, right? And that's the only reason why I think they're putting some pressure on some of these stores, because they're probably small stores. They just want to move on, and it's probably $1,000, $1,200. I'm sure they're not attacking the stores at over $1 million or $500,000 because they know they're not getting a penny from those guys.
right. That's possible. I remember it was before COVID. Actually, I noticed a trend of people who, and this was before all the scammers came on. There were a bunch of my accounts that would double invoice me for things that luckily I have a good enough memory to remember. No, I paid that. I know I paid that. And I would get an invoice like 2 or 3 weeks later saying you were past due. And I was like, no, I paid that. Here, look right here. One of my trash pickup tried to hit me with that and blah, blah, blah. I think there's a lot of accounting departments that do play that game, Jesse. Hey, do you think
100%.
do you think we can double bill these people and try to make up some losses from this quarter? And I think that maybe that's what's going on here.
Yeah. I think I know what Alex said, attack. I don't think there was an attack. Maybe it's a mean letter, right? But I think it's a one and done. I don't think you're going to see too much double takes on this. It's going to be, can we get communication with that store? If that store responds, okay, we're then try to get paid, whether it's a single, double, triple charge, whatever it is. But I don't think they're going to spend too much time on this. They know, listen, these companies that have owed them a lot of money have never paid them.
Yeah.
And it's a vast majority. It sucks, but it is where we're at. And again, like I said, these retailers have moved on.
Well,
I would hope they would. I was I was still there. I still have an open account, so I can still buy from them. Like I said, I do, like for years, bought their discount toys, the stuff when it goes out, when it goes on to liquidation. And so I've stayed with them. And like I said, I can't get, Lunar, you can't get back issues, very many back issues.
Because they're all a discount comic book service.
Quite
Why
possible.
do you give him that moment every
I have
week?
to set him up.
Every week.
He puts the ball on the tee. He hands me the club.
Yeah.
Emmett's just my caddy when it comes to
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's the same. They have this ordering system, but once it goes into back issues, they have a spreadsheet of thousands of single line, like from when I was in the service in the 80s.
Here's a question: has Lunar ever had a clearance sale?
They do have back.
Yeah,
issue
they
sales.
do.
It's like 5%, 10%. It's
okay, so it's not like I'm talking like dollar issues or anything like that.
No, and it's absolute garbage.
I know Discount Comic Book Service has clearance sales though.
Jesse, did you see that Rick and Morty is about to end at Oni Press? What did you think about that?
I read that today. I was very interested in that. That is a property that has served them extremely well, probably the first 5 to 6 years. I think after that, once they started to veer off and start doing the other characters in these crazy 1-2-part series, making the books a little bit bigger. So all of a sudden they're $5.99, $6.99, $7.99. I think they lost that comic base.
Yeah,
I really think they lost that base.
I read this and I thought of a totally different thing.
What, that they're going to restart it?
It's going to another publisher. And that other publisher requested this, and they have a relationship with them, and that this is going to move to another publisher, and I have an idea who I think it is.
Well, here's the interesting thing. I was just going through a Wizard magazine the other day from like 1997, where they were talking about how Oni Press is getting its start because of Clerks, right? Kevin Smith was the first comic book that Oni Press, and Oni Press had this different way of doing things in comics. And now here we are a day later after me going through that Wizard, and one of their biggest properties is getting ready to walk away, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, look how many properties have left Oni Press. So I think just because this is a big name, they've had it for a long time, since basically the beginning. Listen, a lot of people made a lot of money on Rick and Morty in those first 3-4 years. And we'll see if they do go someplace else. We'll see how it's promoted and how it's marketed, and how much that company, that publisher, is vested in that particular title.
Well,
go ahead.
Speaking of that, like, and how much is a publisher invested into that particular title, we haven't got a chance to talk yet, since the news was announced that Mark Spears' Monsters, the Monster and the Wolf #1 blind bags, hit 350,000 pre-orders.
Oh, are we supposed to pretend that Mark didn't tell us that after the show last week?
No, we're just supposed to talk about it.
Okay.
Whoa. Let's rephrase this. Who actually guessed the exact amount during the backroom conversation?
We were talking about the orders, and I believe I was closest to the mark without going over.
You said 315,000. I said exactly 350,000. What does this article say? This article says 350,000, doesn't say 315,000.
That includes overprints.
It does not matter. It's 350,000. It is printed. Who ICV2. I believe. I'm glad you didn't put up that other person, because that other person, well, I won't even get into that, but that other person didn't post my Mark Spears interview, so we should only be using ICV2 right now. Anyways.
The how many stores have committed other than Jen King and you?
Don't know yet. Nobody's really reached out as of right now. It's just, as far as I know, it's just Jen and Most Wanted Comics in Corpus Christi that are doing the midnight thing.
I just hired somebody to run mine, because I'll be down in New York, but so we'll be having one. I don't know it won't be a monster bash. I don't know how to throw a party like obviously Jen does. Like, holy moly, she's got it going on. But
yeah,
we will be opening, and then we will have a cosplayer and some decorations. And
yeah, we've committed to it, so we'll be the third store. We might have a issue where the store down the street is doing it at the same time, so we'll have to pivot at that point. If that person decides to do it, because they're literally like 10 minutes from me. And we'll figure that out at this point. The point is this: listen, people have vested in this. They feel it is a good purchase for their store. It's very cost effective, right? $6, I believe, or how much?
$6.99.
$6.99.
Oh, that's
$5.99. $5.99. I think it's a great value. I think there's enough meat and potatoes in these bags for everybody to have some fun, to partake and enjoy it, regardless of how it happens, because we already know some jadruls are then do it a couple days early. There's nothing we can do about it. They don't care if we call them out. they're just going to do it. But most of the people are then partake. I think this is going to be awesome. I think it's going to be fun. Congratulations to the Spears family, because this was a family event. And I think he was smart to go out and pre-promote this every place possible on this planet.
Well, here's the problem. That didn't happen. I don't know who you're talking to, because no promotion was done. This was all done by word.
I was going to say the same
Yeah,
thing,
this is
Brian.
no, this is all.
No. I'm talking about what Mark did by going on shows. I'm not talking about any other marketing.
There was
market.
I mean, this was all word of mouth.
Yeah.
So like, could you imagine if this did have promotion? Like this would have beaten Battle Beast.
You mean
for,
if the publisher actually earned their half of 50%?
Yeah. Well, you know,
I dropped something.
Yeah. I think that if there would have been promotion for this in a major way, that this would have definitely hit over 400,000 and would have beat out Battle Beast for most pre-order.
Well, and here's the thing, and then the publisher moved this 1 week to put it up against DC's KO, which is doing the exact same thing as the Batman blind bag. And I've actually seen 3 videos today talking about Scott Snyder's interviews and what his plan is. DC's machine is out there promoting KO, and Keen Spot's like, oh, cool. Can we count the money yet? Okay, cool.
Well, I think I'm pretty sure it's outsold DC KO.
Oh yeah, by far. I think I ordered 3.
Well, no, but I mean, we don't have the numbers yet. We don't have the numbers for DC's KO yet, do we?
No, I know that. I'm just saying I think I ordered 3 or 5, and I ordered 1,000 of these. So
here's a perfect example. Zabit says, I watched a rather large comic YouTuber. Let us know who that comic YouTuber is, Zabit. I want to so I can see it. They don't cover speculation, though. They had no idea what Monsters was when they saw this news story. And that is the crazy thing. Mark has built. See, I think Mark is doing what Brian has done, and Mark's doing it in an amazing way, which is he's gaining fans and he's creating a community through organic growth. It's all word of mouth. There is no promotion otherwise. This is all word of mouth, and that's a crazy thing. He has fans that want to get everything that Mark does, and that's the same thing that Brian has done throughout the years. Anything that Brian puts out, you know, it's a big thing. So Zabit says it was comic tropes, so I'll have to go check that out.
I've watched it a few times.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
He's not really a comic industry guy. He's a comic reader. He talks about the tropes of comics, the stories themselves.
Yeah. I think he did a Rob Liefeld one that I really liked, like a documentary. He does little documentaries.
What's it? Glenn Wood said that the 350,000 is not set number yet.
Yeah, because you can order more.
That's a set number. It was set last week.
Yeah.
You can't. Are you sure you can't adjust your order?
Well, you got final cutoff. Right, which was last Monday, and then you have adjusted orders. But I can't see someone, unless they just can't afford their bill they just ordered, right? Minusing.
You can't raise your number. You can pray that the 10%'s not used up.
Right.
But, there's a lot of scammers. People who bought and they're like, oh, 50 of them are not in good condition.
Right. But, at the end of the day, just to back up here, not everybody collects Lady Death,
Well,
it's the same thing. So
that's something I would love to find out about too, though, guys. Think about these people who are doing these rip and ships on blind bags. How many of those guys do you think are ripping them and then declaring damage on the common stuff that they know they can't make their money back on?
I would say it's probably more than you think.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, and I can think a pretty high number for how many retailers I don't trust. And it would not shock me if somebody ordered 1,000 pulled one of those 1 in 1,000s or 1 in 500s and then said, yeah, I had like 800 damaged copies when our customers ripped them all open, they were damaged.
I don't know about that. That's a little much.
I don't think they're going to chance that many.
Yeah.
They might chance
up to
25,
10%.
50 maybe.
Yeah.
On that. The notion is, even if they do one, right, it's wrong. Here we're talking about 800, but if you're maliciously doing this as in your mind, a best practice.
Well, you lower your margins, right? You get these free books that are aftermarket. And if the biggest book hasn't been found, these are going to skyrocket, right?
Yeah.
I'm not opening any of mine. I'm selling all mine to my customers at $5.99 a bag, no upcharge on that night for the whole week. Tuesday of the next week, it's fair game.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. Everybody's got to look at their margin. You got to keep in mind, we talk about, oh my gosh, we're getting the monster blind bag, and we're also getting about 60 other comics that week. So we have to sell everything, not just say, oh my gosh, hey guys, look over here. No. Look at this whole spread.
Yeah.
And I think
I have to sell my DCKO.
Yeah,
also.
Exactly. And people are then be competing against each other.
Well, and that's going to force the retailer to choose whether they want the gambit of Scott Snyder fans that they've been banking on for a long time, or this new guy, Mark Spears, who, like Andrew said in the chat, his LCS didn't even know about the blind bags.
We should be able to do both.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't see
If
why
you're a good retailer.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, are you not looking at your FOC? Are you just going Marvel, DC? Oh, don't need, or Image. Oh, don't need to see anything else. Obviously, there's a big promo there that says, oh, by the way, you have a 1 in 250, you have a 1 in 500, you have a 1 in 1,000. If that doesn't stop you in your tracks, fine. Then you missed it. But at the end of the day, you should be going page by page. I mean, there's no difference from what you did at Diamond to what you should be doing on your orders with anybody else. And again, it could be you get that far. The old saying is, once you leave Marvel, DC, and Image, what do you have left to spend? And sometimes you don't have anything left to spend.
No, that's true.
It's just mind blowing to me, like that. Not mind blowing in like a bad or a good way, of both, right? It's mind blowing to me that Mark, that this happened, that he still did 350K pre-orders, and there's comic shops out there that don't know about monsters.
Yeah,
it's just nuts to me. So
yeah, but I think because you've reported on it. Forget about your relationship. You have reported on Mark Spears since technically from the beginning. And I don't think everybody's surrounded by Mark Spears every day in this industry. And that could be what's happening. People are, focusing on this last week's blind bags. A lot of things happen. It's amazing how many people you can, show a buck to, and they have no idea what you're talking about. And you're like, what are you talking about? How can you not know who Superman is?
Yeah. But just like Brian said, there's so many of these little bubbles.
Yep, little tent poles. We're under these different little tent poles.
But even with Free Comic Book Day and Monster's huge success there, it did not puncture a bunch of the other bubbles and make their way in. I think one of Zabit said, Comic Pop has interviewed Snyder several times, but hasn't even mentioned monsters.
But here's another example. Like, we're in our own little bubbles. I don't even know. I've never even heard of Comic Pop until recently, and he's a huge, YouTube channel. So we are in our own little bubbles. Here's another interesting thing, and I want to ask Dennis about this. Dennis, did you see that Gary, Nerdrotic, Gary Beekler?
I did. He got his first copy in. Yep.
This is really, really cool. Shout out to Gary. He's got his own comic book, Waiting for Nerdrotic. being done through Ripasend, I believe, through Eric July's publishing company. And this is a big deal. If you guys know Gary's story, you kind of get, yeah. And I'm really rooting for him on this one. I hope this turns out into something more. I hope this is a big deal. I would love to, try and get him on at some point to talk about it, because,
I'll reach out to him again.
Yeah. Bottom line, the title says it all. Waiting for Neurotic, from prison to YouTube. A guy who has, same thing as me, been down these paths that, you never think you're going to get out of in a major negative way. You find yourself out of it, and you kind of build a, not only a life on it, but a way of living that life, and a way of showing other people that it can be done, that you can get out of the muck.
That was the entire pitch to you about having Gary come on our show.
Yeah.
Which was, I remember there was questions like, well, what does he have to do with this now? It's like, it's not about this. It's about the fact that he's traveled so many of the paths that many of our guests have traveled. Many of our friends have traveled. It drastically got sidebarred someplace completely other, kind of where you have been, Brian. And then for both of you to have these redemption arcs, to come out on the other side of this perilous road that you two have been down, I just thought it was a no-brainer to have him come on and talk about that with us.
Yeah. And I like Gary. I like rooting for the guy. Obviously, there's this thing that happens in the world of the human thing, where you see it a lot, like with musicians or comedians. When they run into another comedian or run into another musician, they're connected. Well, same thing with addicts. It's just, there's something about it when you run into somebody who's been through that, who's gotten through it. I say all the time, there's this saying that Joey Diaz once said, that he would rather go to hell and fight the armies of hell with 3 former addicts than 3 people that have never touched a drug, because know what it takes to get through that. And
he's also got that quote that you use on one of your other shows too. I'd rather have 5 motherfuckers.
Yeah. Three friends to take on the world, and that's the truth. There's that road is fraught with peril, and most people don't get out of it, especially nowadays with what's going on with fentanyl and everything. But the bottom line is, it's easy to root for Gary, in my opinion, and I'm going to continue to root for the guy, and hopefully this works out well. And I would love to see, more stuff, comics from him or stuff in the future. I think this is a cool thing. So
it's a great format too, and it's what I've been saying. The comic medium, I don't think, has really been pushed to its fullest potential. This is a man who grew up on comics, owned a comic shop, now he's gone far beyond that with his YouTube channel, as an influencer, is on shows, and he wanted to tell his story in a comic book form.
Yeah, that means a lot. That does mean a lot.
It does.
So, and he's having a great time right now, enjoying all the UFO talk with the September 9th.
Dude, did you see the missile video today?
I did. Let's take a look at it.
Hold on, God, dude.
Yeah. So for those of you guys that didn't know, there is a bunch of testimony going on in the world of.
You got it.
And look at this. This is a UFO that's been hit by Hellfire missiles. That when it gets hit, it basically.
It does a spin around.
Brushes it off, and then just goes back to doing its thing.
And it was still moving at faster than the tracking of the camera could catch.
Yep. Look at that.
Boom, right there. Look at that.
Just bounced right off of it. 3 little orbs released from the ship.
Mr. Terrific.
Yep. And then it just keeps going on doing its thing. So
didn't that happen in Independence Day?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it gets hit.
Yeah. Remember they hit. He
Oh, yeah,
fires
yeah,
it,
yeah.
the thing spins
So-
around, and then
Yeah.
That's the theory that I've always had. This stuff that you see, someone has talked to someone and said, "Oh, by the way, if you shoot at the ship, it should bounce off." Why? Because that's
well, but see,
whistleblower.
that's the
right?
beautiful part about the CIA and Hollywood. They've all got embedded people, and they're like, if your little Independence Day aliens there got hit by a missile,
Emmett,
it might be something like this.
This is the truth. What are you covering your? This is the most important part of the show. Talking UFOs, right? They are grooming us so that our consumer behavioral status, when it does happen, we'll go, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
Yes. Well, and I mean, dude, I'm a huge Y-Files AJ Gentili fan,
Gentile,
and he'll be at that conference as well.
Oh, wow.
But the Y-Files has this amazing videos on the relationship between the U.S. government and aliens going back to the 50s. And dude, I've believed it for a long time, but there's so much. The CIA, every time a real nugget gets out, they put 10 nuggets out there to discredit all nuggets.
Yep.
Well, I want to talk about one final story that I saw in recently that we've been talking about behind the scenes a lot lately. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but it's pretty crazy, this whole CGC thing. There's actually multiple. Bulgegate, yes.
I hadn't noticed it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Zero quality control at that place, man. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, shoving these 10 books in a box, and the guy packing wasn't like, "Hey guys, there's something wrong with these. We pack up thousands of these, and none of them have ever crammed out of the box before. Can somebody come over and look at this?"
Yeah. Well, go ahead and explain what we're talking about, because not everybody knows what's going on here.
Okay, so to make a long story short, everybody complained that CGC doesn't fully seal their books, and then they had Banana Gate, which was kind of a weird interwell thing that was actually putting creases on books that people were like, hey, it may say 9.8 on the label, but your banana process just put 3 extra ticks on this thing. So to counteract, I don't know, I'm just speculating, to counteract a lot of those concerns,
What's going on, everyone?
It seems like they have over sealed the cases to the point where the cases, and when the air expands in that case, it's causing the plastic to bevel out. And this guy does the greatest video to explain this.
Yeah, this is Automatic Comics, you guys. If you're watching us, I'm sure you know who Automatic Comics is. Another great content creator. But yeah,
those are supposed to be interlocking slab books. They're supposed to interlock when you put them on top of each other.
Yeah. And they, because of the air being trapped inside of them, now they all bulge out to where they won't interlock.
It's a simple fix. All you got to do is just crack it, and then the air will all escape and
resell it. Super glue.
Well, they're already doing that. Here's the interesting thing. This was all in response to how easy it is to crack open a CGC case with one hand, as our boy Red Hood has shown. And the new PSA cases coming out being, just built like a brick shit house. And that's what's causing this. What a joke. Look
at the way it slid. Look at the way it slid.
Yeah. I mean, that's not good.
And the problem also with this is, and I was listening to another person do a review of this video. When it's bulging out like that, that means the comic inside can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which is going to cause more damage. It's the opposite of the banana problem.
Yeah. So
It's
I get
crazy.
so much grief from the homers, from the CGC homers about, I want my comic protected. Yeah, you do? Well, they don't guarantee that you're going to get protection, and they're not protected.
Oh, I don't know if I should share this with you, Brian, but I think I will, because this happened today. I'll just give you the first part of it. How about that?
Yeah.
So I have that PSA 10 on my eBay site, and this guy contacted me, and he went off on me. So I'll just give you the first half of it. I'll give you that part too. It's a long, drawn out one, but you'll see why. Oh, damn it, it won't let me multi-send.
How the hell do I find my saved post on Facebook? I don't know why it's not letting me. Like, I hate Facebook. I really do. I think it's such a joke. All right, here we go.
That's why I always send it to you on Instagram.
Yeah.
Which is Facebook, but it's a different setup. Different.
Oh, should I send these on Instagram? Oh,
well, no, I think we
no,
got
no,
them.
No.
We got
You're
them.
okay.
Okay.
So I want to say something. You know, we've been talking about the fact about this PSA 10 Gambit first appearance that's been going around, and this story is starting to get even crazier. And this is not a good look for PSA. From what we're hearing is that this PSA 10 Gambit book was a book that was either graded for or given to the son of the head grader at PSA, who is also a content creator. He was given a PSA 10 gold label Uncanny X-Men 266. And this book is it's got a staple that's basically loose from the book. It's not a popped. It hasn't broken the page, but you can see it's like out from the book.
Out from the book.
Yeah. So that's very interesting as well. Let me go ahead and show you guys this. This is one of the things that has been showing up in my inboxes a lot lately. So here we go. This is it. This is the book. Let me see if I can get a good.
See, and my thought on this, and there's no grade category for staple.
Mm-hmm.
Staple condition has never been, except for rusty staple,
I was about
which
to say,
was always a defect.
Yeah.
But to me, this is a mechanical error that no grader has ever put a grader note on how tight the staple was, other than if it was married, it would get a tag. If it was rusty, it would get a tag. But the fact that the staple is slightly bent on this, I don't know that I agree that that's a defect.
Yeah, there's nothing else wrong with the book.
If the book is pristine and it has a bulging staple,
we haven't seen up close pictures, but a lot of people are saying that the wrap on the book is off.
It looks perfect to me. I'm looking at that. I know this book like the back of my hand.
Well, you can see right here. You can see the wrap is off right here. There's a little bit.
Yeah, in the bottom right corner. If you go all the way down to the bottom right corner, it's really off.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
But I don't think that they. Nope. That's one of the first concerns I had with PSA, and where I said I hope they do quad grades. Because nobody in the editor, I suggested to CBCS to do quad grades. And
well, here's the interesting thing.
Different...
Red Hood, who I trust implicitly with things of this nature, he says that the staple looks that way because the staples were removed and they added new staples to it. So that's very interesting. I don't know if that's true, but you know,
he would know.
He would know. Yeah.
I was always told by CGC when I used to talk to him that that factory defects, like a rolled spine, were not a criteria that they were going to grade on.
How is a rolled spine not?
Because the fact is, as these books came off printing presses, the printer might shift that book a little bit this way. It was the fact that the original intactness was there, because Spider-Man 300 notoriously about rolled spines, because it has that black back cover that you can see.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
The wrapping. I thought you were talking about a roll, like a roll.
Yeah,
You're talking about the wrap.
No. I'm talking about the fact
the
that
wrap is
is slightly off.
Yeah.
And to me, that's why I suggested to CVCS that they should do basically what PSA Cards does and what Beckett does for their card grading. You grade on centering, you grade on corners, you grade on edge, and that would imply your spine edge has to be perfect to get that 10. Your corners have to be perfect. That, your center, whatever the centering equivalent of that rolling of the back spine onto the front, but they just consider wherever the staples are, as long as the staples are clean and not broken, that's what they consider to be intact spine.
Well, the biggest problem with this isn't necessarily, to me, the fact that there's a staple issue and on a 10. The biggest problem with this is that the son of the head grader is the one who got this book.
That's a little.
And the optics there, like if I was this guy who got this book,
I'll be honest. I submitted like 6 of these, Brian. Did you watch my videos?
No, I haven't seen.
I didn't get a single one higher than a 9.6.
Wow.
I didn't get a single 9.8. And my staples were better than this.
So here's the thing: like, if I was the guy who got this book, no way would I do a content on it. Are you kidding me? Like, if I was his dad, I'd be like, "Hey, son, I know you got this 10. Just keep this one to yourself, like, because it's going to look bad. Even if it is a 10 book, people are going to complain about.
I submitted
nepotism.
200 books, Brian. I got a bunch of 9.8s and I got 110 out of 200. And if you go back to that, then this is the shit I have to eat for having that 110. I'm just wondering if this would get a 10 from CGC if I submitted it to them. And I politely was like, well, you should ask CGC, but the people who have graded the highest sports cards in history have graded this a 10. Yes, I understand that 100%. Hence why I asked, because, well, they grade cards and they're brand new to grading comics. I didn't send another one. This guy goes on and on and on. And I'm like, at a certain point, I'm just like, dude, if you don't trust PSA on comics, then you're
don't buy a PSA book. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't. What are you harassing me for?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the clout chasing online is so prevalent. There's no way he could keep getting a X-Men 266 10 off his channel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anybody a little bit of common sense knows, hey, maybe it's not a good idea.
Storage Bag is saying, I thought it wasn't his, but coming up in a PSA only auction he is hosting. Well, again,
that might be it.
If that's the case, I still feel
that's worse.
Yeah. Like you're selling this. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's really hard. Like it's really hard to be in that situation. Your dad's a head grader at PSA. He's known in the industry. You're a content creator. That's just a tough situation to be in, and you're going to go through so many times where the optics are just not a good look. Whether it's righteous,
so much time talking to him.
He's a great guy, dude. The head grader. He is an absolute beast when it comes to knowledge on comic books.
Right. So how long does this stay in the news cycle? Something like this.
It's been there for a week. Depends on what it sells for.
Depends on if they pull it from the auction.
Brian, if you got that other book, speaking of auctions, because I think this comes up tomorrow.
What other book?
And actually, the More Fun, I sent you the link to that.
Did you send it in the Facebook?
The IG or the Facebook?
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
So I was like, I saw this pop up and I was like, oh, wow, that's kind of crazy. Can you zoom in on it?
Yeah.
So this one got a 4.5, and I'm actually kind of with Golden Age and chipping and whatnot. Bad dust shadow. But I think it's, to me, I've seen fives, and I've seen fives and I've seen books like this get 5s and 6s from CGC. This one seemed rather harsh.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, I don't do great.
Haven't you seen 5s and 6s on Golden Age that look worse than this?
I've seen a lot that surprised me from Golden Age. Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, I'm like, this 4.5 on here. And I don't know what that book goes for in 4.5. I think it's at 25,000 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's first Aquaman and first Green Arrow, right? Is that what the tag says?
Killer book, 26,000. Right
yeah.
now.
Yeah. 26,000. You know, to me, I don't think I don't know what, I know what I got for my 200. I don't think I got any gift grades. I think I got a few kick in the nuts that I shouldn't have gotten, you know, and I was one of the early adopters. And I look at a book like this, a marquee book like this, and I'm like, I don't think they're overgrading it. This is an heritage, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah. One day left on that, if you're interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want to drop 26 grand on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, I think a lot of this is news cycle stuff. And if nothing else happens at PSA, it's just then stay in the news.
Yep.
Right. And
but I'll tell you what, I can't remember if it was Swaggle or Automatic did a top 5 CGC books. And I had 2 or 3 of the books were my sales. Like, you know, or PSA, I'm sorry, top 5 PSA sales and going for record prices. And 3 of them were mine. 2 or 3 of them were mine. So I can't complain with the numbers I'm getting from PSA books.
Yeah. I want to give another big shout out real quick to another former guest and another great creator, Dan Mendoza. I don't know if you guys saw these. He's got his Zombie Tramp figures. Yeah, look at this.
Where is he selling them through? Just his own website, or?
Yeah, I believe they're through their website and they're
no distribution.
It was a Kickstarter, I believe. I believe it was a crowdfunding. So, really, really
and
cool.
this is why I'm saying these publishers, to backtrack a little bit, this is what the publishers should be talking to their customers about. They should be selling their customers. They should be doing Kickstarters so that the money is driven from the customer. So when the notion comes up, well, we don't have any money because it's tied up in diamond, then do a freaking Kickstarter. Put your heads together, call a printer, find out what the costs are, call a pencil maker, a coin maker, whatever. There are ways to do business right now that doesn't make you go backwards. It's just like that list. I mean, they said 135 people, they put 40 people on that list. So apparently 95 other companies didn't even qualify on that thing.
No. So they are attacking this in
batches. The group. Okay, that group.
By alphabetical order. And that's what Rich was trying to get at, was they only attacked the A's and the B's in the first volley of lawsuits. And then by the time he updated it to include down to the F's. So I think they're going to go after each one of those 135.
Right.
And I think it's probably that idea that Oh, you guys are trying to sue us to get your inventory back. Okay, well, we're going to sue you for not picking your inventory up, and then we'll end up settling each one of these cases, for an undisclosed amount later, and that way we can wrap up this Chapter 11 and then move on.
Yep, exactly. So, but yeah, you need to be innovative. You need to go out and you need to service your customers. Sell, solve everything. That's just the way business works in this. If you're in retail, sell, solve everything. This is a great way to get out there, try new stuff, get in front of your customers.
But here, we had Brian on the show tonight. Look about the way Brian talked about getting his first action figures and being a part of that. It's a sense of pride for these creators to be able to get this moment. And then I think about back to Keen Spot. What are they doing they're leaving money on the table. Pulido's got statues. Pulido's got action figures. Other people have action figures. Now Zombie Tramp has action figures after so many years of being a viable IP. Where's your action figures? You're leaving money on the table. Money that could be in your pocket and in our friend Mark Spears' pocket.
Right.
How come there's not Mark Spears t-shirts for Halloween?
Yeah, t-shirts. I mean, there is at
there is.
What is it?
Spencer's.
At Spencer's.
Spencer's.
Yeah.
Oh, he has a Spencer's deal?
Yeah, he's got Spencer's. I almost said Suncoast, but
Well, you accused me of living in the past, Jesse.
Suncoast.
There hasn't been a Suncoast in 15 years.
Yes, Heather Thomas posters ever. Oh no, that was Spencer Gifts too.
That was Spencer's too.
Yeah, that was Spencer's. Yeah, every year.
And all the black light posters.
I had the towel, her holding the towel up. That was on my bedroom wall.
Well, you know about that was a photo from Rich and Famous, and while that old guy was interviewing her, she turned and that towel came off during the interview.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways.
Anything else that you guys can think of news-wise for the rest?
Do we want to talk about that 519 that I sent to the group chat?
What was that?
Oh yeah, that's they're trying to do bring back pull box, created some kind of program for.
Yeah, I didn't understand exactly what was going on.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay.
So as everybody knows, 2009. 2010, there was a little company called Comixology who came to retailers through Comics Pro and said, guys, we got this exciting product. We're going to have this software where all your customers can log on and they can see what books are coming out before FOC, and they can put in these orders, and you'll know from this software what books your customers want. You can up your orders and all this exciting stuff. And who gets to keep the information? Why do our customers have to log on to your site to use this information? What? Huh? And they're like, no, don't worry. We won't do anything with it. And then Comixology decided they were going to start selling digital comics. And a lot of those people who used this Comixology software to have their things got contacted for digital comics. So this is, I believe, I know, I'll get my tinfoil hat, just like the fish on Hecklefish.
Y-Files, yeah.
Yeah. I adamantly opposed it, and it got used against us. So then Diamond decided they wanted to do this, and they had the Pullbox software under the Diamond heading. And I don't think they ever got a chance to do it. I think they ended up probably going bankrupt beforehand.
No,
but all of that data.
No, I was using Pullbox.
No. I know you were using it, but what I'm saying is
for them to use it in an evil way.
Correct. Things fell apart before they had a chance to utilize that. If things had gone a different way, if Emmet had gone out of business before they did, would your customers who used it get an email talking about Diamond Digital or go to this other store or whatever? But this is coming from, I don't know where, Canada. This guy is a Canadian store in I think Quebec or Montreal, I can't remember. And this is his foray into a pull box software to order your comics.
Interesting.
Do you want to go down and
he says,
yeah, it's basically
Earth 519 builds on a subscription base of all new comics and offers convenient subscription services, allowing fans to have their favorite comics delivered directly to them. So he's just basically running the same thing that like Billy does?
Economic, yeah.
Isn't he just offering
subscription?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he's in London, Ontario. That's right. London, Ontario, which used to have my favorite strip club in it. But that's not the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to find that article where me and Dennis actually, I think we're interviewed by Bleeding Cool about the diamond thing, about how we felt our customers were then be taken in the information. And obviously.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, no, this guy is worse than what I thought. He's trying to get our customers to order from Canada and then receive them from Canada. So he's basically a discount comic book service.
I think he's just a shop that's just offering his customers a chance to do a subscription service. I think that's all it is.
So there is a problem on managing subscribers. It's always been ugly, messy until Pullbox, because every week it would tell you what comics came out and then which customers get those comics. It was it made the job very, very easy. Yes, it's possible that that at some point they could have taken my customers. Hopefully I've given them the type of service that they would like to stay with a comic shop rather than go online. But we need that. We need some type of subscription management program that still knows what comics come out every week, because nobody knows what comics come out every week anymore.
Right.
So there's a new is the Manage Comics, is that the name of his service? What is Manage Comics? Is that what you're talking about?
I think that was a service, but like I said, they're all Trojan horses to get customer data to bypass the surviving 1,200 retail. Yeah, here this was it. Yeah, sorry.
So it says here, Comic Suite and Pullbox are shutting down, leaving retail management hero comic shops searching for a replacement. Manage Comics and MCS have teamed up to deliver a modern web-based subscription management solution with direct RMH integration. So they're currently beta testing.
Right, but here's the thing. This guy already has shown us his true colors. He has a Shopify account that sells comics to people directly. And now he wants retailers to utilize his service to help us make more money, and will in no way, shape, or form ever try to convert them to his customers.
I don't see anything wrong with what he's doing. Am I missing something?
So, Brian, let's just say, well, I mean, you were a customer of Jesse's.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay, so let's just say Jesse used this service, told you to use this service to help him figure out what you want. All good, right? But what happens when Jesse sells his store? And let's just say you don't like the new owners better than you like Jesse, or, this better, like you like Jesse. And then all of a sudden you get an email saying, are you dissatisfied with your comic book store? You should try 519 Comics. And Jesse opened up the gates of Troy to let in this horse, and they used it to sneak an army past Jesse's gate. And now they're attacking you to try to steal you away from Jesse or the person Jesse sold to.
I don't know, man. I feel like that's a little too much, but maybe I'm just
not
understanding.
I think they could make more money just selling the information on to another company.
Yeah.
And not have to worry about.
I was going to say data mining is
either way.
Yeah, data mining is more important. So if you get 25,000 emails, 50,000 emails, 100, that has extreme value. So on top of what Dennis is talking, we also have the that.
But here's the thing. I've spent 15 years, Brian, watching this industry try to circumnavigate around the retailer. And I can just smell these little schemes. And every time I get the opportunity to confront one of these schemers, I always say, will you put it in writing that you will never utilize our customers' data for any purpose other than to sell us, to get us to buy more comic books for them?
Yep.
And every time they say, well, we don't intend to do that. Well, yeah, no, I understand you're saying you don't intend to do it. But will you put it in writing that you will never do it and that it can't possibly be done? And even Pullbox refused to answer that question, because guess what? Now Diamond has been sold and now Sparkle Pop owns it. They're not going to use Pullbox. So why wouldn't they just sell that data?
I've been asking that question for a long time. I don't know actually who owned Pullbox. If it was Diamond or the Jeppy family, or, I mean, where in the umbrella did it land? Was it?
It was listed. It was listed as one of the assets one of the times that I saw.
Okay.
Along with Comic Shop Locator Service and all these other ones.
Right. And the new one is Comic Knowledge, which I just sent Brian, which is another company.
More fucking middlemen.
Yep, exactly. Same exact thing. And so we're going to get hit by a lot of people.
But don't you guys want an easy to use program like that?
Yes. But it has to have stipulations, Brian, because the only people who want to create that software are people who have different intentions for it.
They can't charge us enough for us to buy it, right? Because we don't make enough on the subscriptions to pay them $250 a month. I don't think I could probably eke out more than maybe 50 to 100 and find the value in it. Yeah, it saves me a little bit of time. And I loved it when the Pullbox was doing it, but Pullbox was free.
Right. But
how free is it?
Who does your Pullbox pre-orders and your post pre-orders? You do. See, that's something you got to delegate at some point. That solves that issue.
Yeah, you have to ask. Here's the thing. And they never released this data, Emmett. So here's the answer. It was free. How much did you increase your sales because of Pullbox?
Oh, I couldn't give a percentage because I really would have to go back and look.
Okay, but do you think 10%, 20%? Yeah. Okay, so what is the benefit of increasing Emmet's sales by 10 or 20% to Diamond? 5% of the increase is minuscule.
Yeah.
There's got to be another reason why somebody would spend all the time and effort of updating that Pullbox software. And it's not the 5% increase of the 20% increase of Emmet.
No, but I don't think it's to sell them comics.
Well, whatever it is, the point is there is one thing that I can guarantee you for certain. Every single publisher, especially the big 2 or 3, they want the data of our customers because they have to go through the 3 of us to get to them. And we won't give that up easily. Okay? Yeah. And they have come up with
the industry better if they knew what the sell-through rate, the real sell-through rate was, if they knew this, because if you could see the sell-through rate, then you'd know, oh, these writers, these artists, these are the ones that are actually selling, not like sitting on the shelf for the rest of eternity.
Right. But ask yourself, why wouldn't they ever tell us what that is?
Well, that's corporations.
Because
I mean, they don't
here's
believe
the thing.
in transparency.
But whatever their saturation level was for retailers using pull box, do you think it was 100%?
No.
Okay. Do you think it was, let's just pretend it was 50%. If pull box is this great, why wouldn't they want to tell us how Emmet increased his sales by 20% using pull box? We have the data. Jesse increased his sales by 30% using pull box. Dennis, why aren't you using pull box? You don't want to make 10 to 20 or 30% more?
I think you're giving them too credit. This is the same company that couldn't fucking get $30 million off the people who owed them the money.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And keep in mind, one of the things that, when, for instance, Nordstrom, everything's tied into each other. So if you're selling alligator shoes and 60 stores has it, eventually you're going to start transferring that over to your top selling store. We don't do that in the comic book world, right? I'm not going to say, hey, looks like Emmet is selling Pikachu number 4 more than me. Say, oh, hey, Emmet, let me transfer this to you. No, we don't do that. So I think we're very limited on what they can provide us, but there's no company in the world that collects data isn't making more money using that data for something else.
Well, I'll tell you one other thing. Back when Diamond was the gatekeeper, let's just pretend December 2019, before COVID and before DC left,
yeah.
Any one of these guys tried to muscle in on Diamond's monopoly or racket, I guarantee you they would be sent packing. But now that Diamond has been broken and Diamond has been scattered to the wind, and there's all of these publishers, Filbo, Massive. What's the other? I always forget the guy's name.
Panelfly.
Who?
Panelfly.
Yeah. And Penguin and Lunar. These guys can sneak right around all of that and go, we're going right after that source. We want that right there. Nobody is these guys aren't talking to each other to stop us. So let's just do all of this.
Right.
I just think that, that there's a certain benefit to having a Diamond monopoly, and there's a certain negative to Diamond not having monopoly. And I think this is what happens. All these middlemen get these little schemes in their head, and they're going to go ahead and try to get in there. And the one thing they want more than anything else, Brian, is they want Jesse, Emmet, Dennis, everybody's information.
Yeah.
For whatever purpose they want it for, they want that information.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at how much stuff you sell on eBay. Do you think eBay's going? No, they're taking care of that customer first.
Oh, yeah.
By directing them someplace else. Hey, you bought a Halloween comic book. Let me show you who sells Halloween masks. Michael Myers or whoever that is, Jason Voorhees, whichever character that is. They're directing them someplace else. Hey, you need to get this now. You need to get that now. So yeah, we're just not set up for that, and I don't think we can ever be set up for that. They don't want you to know the real sell numbers.
I think what would be truly successful for comic book industry would be franchising. Comic book store in a box. But I'm too old to get there.
They tried it with GameStop.
And Atomics. I feel like Atomic Comics maybe. And doesn't Coliseum Comics have like 12?
Yeah, but they own all of them, don't they?
No, they own them outright. There's a company that does franchise. I think he has, I forgot the name of the company. Dragon Lair or something like that.
Dragon Lair or Dragon's Den?
Yeah, something like that. It's a franchise that he does it. They pay a certain percentage a year, XYZ. And that's fine. But again, that's 5 stores.
Well, that's the thing is you have to reach critical mass where you're actually, can move the market, where you can decide what. I mean, then when you're doing store exclusives and you have 45 stores.
No, we discuss it all the time. Emmet, we discuss it all the time. the margins, even with you doing more new comics than Jesse or I, the margins are so low, and they've been low for 20 years.
Yeah, but that's the only reason I carry new comics is for traffic.
Yep.
It creates traffic on slow days, Wednesdays and Thursdays.
That's the brilliant thing about Scott Snyder's recent interview. He talks about that, like everybody has a binge mentality now, a streaming mentality right now. And we're still working for the trade paperback. We're still producing comic books for the trade paperback. But the streaming services have got a hook on every episode to make sure you're there for the next one. And he's talking about KO being that product that is going to have that hook every issue to make you come back every week.
I've talked to Scott a lot on that, and about how the serialization of comics, people could come in and they're like, oh, I want to read this Flash.
Yep.
And you're like, well, it's in the middle of the arc, so I don't have number 1. So you should wait for the trade and then start at 7. No, come in. Here you go. Here, read this. It starts and finishes. And you get a little bit of who the character is. And if you want to learn the history, you can go back and buy stuff later. But here's the comic today, and you can enjoy it, and you don't have to know shit.
Yeah, and I think, again, Emmet, you're always talking about hand selling. Today, a lady came in, first time buying comics. What are you looking for? I kind of like DC. So she walked out with DC Crisis on Infinite Earth, Watchmen, and Flash Rebirth. I didn't take her to the new issue table and say, oh, by the way, Batman #1 has a new issue, right? So we really have to.
But other than that, there's not much.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So our options are, when someone walks in the store, we should be trying to getting them, really educated by getting them the trade paperback. That's a $90 sale there versus, hey, Batman #1 came out. So I think, yes, you can use that new issue wall as a starter, but if you're really hand selling, you can educate that customer and say, hey, let's get you started from the beginning.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. I mean, there's not a lot of meat on the bone for them, but the new DC compacts.
Yes.
I've sold more of those than any trades in since I've opened the store, just since they came out. I've sold almost 100. Like, there's like, how many is out? Like 10, is there 10? I think there's 10 out, and I've sold about 15 of the more popular ones, like Watchmen and All-Star Superman and Court of Owls and Hush, 15 to 20 of those. And then, 10 of most of the other ones. Far Sector is a great seller for me. And like, when it came out as a floppy.
Oh, it was garbage.
Yeah.
Nobody moved it. But it's a really good, I read it recently. And
that's the Green Lantern one, right?
Yeah.
Sojourn, yeah.
Yeah, let's
I know, too woke for you, Dennis. Too woke for you.
She hacked a Green Lantern ring. Please, done.
Yeah. But I think you guys sell what you're comfortable with, right? And I think if you can sell stuff that you're comfortable with and have a conversation with it, I think that's going to be the more important parts. With mystery bags, how do you sell a mystery bag other than, hey, this is a cool bag with some cool exclusives in it? Everything
the mystery
else,
bags have to sell themselves. That's the whole important thing about mystery bags, is that if there's nothing, so here's why the Marks mystery bags are going to be so great. If the collation is random, the reason why they're going to be so great is so many people are going to be opening them either live on live sales, doing videos about it, and the excitement is going to be there. So they'll sell themselves. That's the thing about mystery bags. They need to sell themselves with the excitement that you see people opening them and going, oh my God, look at this, I got this, or oh my God, I pulled this, or oh my God, look how beautiful this is. I didn't know this was in here. Those sell themselves. Right? You don't really have to, you shouldn't have to sell a mystery bag. As long as there's good stuff in them, they'll sell themselves.
But Brian, that's for a specific type of customer.
That's why I was just
Okay.
getting ready to say.
And that customer is a habitual gambler who's been ripping packs and loving the blind bags on whatnot and all of that stuff. Hey, I catered to him. I made mystery boxes, blah, blah, blah. But Emmet's a perfect example. There are people who just want to read the fucking story and they don't give a shit what the other variant is. They
Not
don't
many.
give two shits. What?
I don't think there's many anymore. I don't think the majority of buyers.
We just had it in the chat. Brian. Comic
telling
Pop, who you've never heard of, or Comics Trope, who you've never heard of, has 280.
I've heard of Comics Trope.
But what I'm saying is, I forget what it was, but 284,000 people who just listened to him talk about storylines. He's never talked about a variant cover or
but here's the thing. We were just talking about how rare it is to have those storylines be the sell. Look at the storylines Jesse is selling. Flash Rebirth, Watchmen, Crisis on Infinite Earth. Those are 20, 30 years old. There's nothing that's happened.
That was
No, it was Jesse. There was nothing. There was nothing. None of those have, other than Flash Rebirth. None of them are new. They're all old. There's no new storylines that are selling like that anymore. So people aren't reading comics as much as they used to. I get it. I get it that it used to be that way, that the majority of people who bought comics are reading them. But I'm going to stand firm on this. I think that nowadays, the majority of people, not by a big margin, by a small margin, but I still think the majority of people that buy comic books are not opening the majority of those comic books.
If that's true, comics are dead in 5 years.
Yep.
Right.
I don't know about 5 years, but I think you're right that it's causing the death of comics.
I think here's the thing. I think you're wrong because
I sold 10 absolute Batmans. I am most books I bring in 10 absolute Batmans on Wednesday. They showed up to make sure they got their absolute Batman.
Jesse, how many Walking Deads did you used to send on a Wednesday that a Walking Dead came out?
We used to sell a little over 700 to
That's
1,000.
way more than 10.
But he has a large market.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
That was Phoenix, Arizona compared to buttfuck New York.
How many comic stores are within 10 miles of you, Jesse? During that time period?
Oh.
6, 7?
Yeah.
And there's how many million people? How many million people
it's
in
five,
Phoenix?
5 compared to 6, the same number.
No, I have 5. I have 5 comic shops within a reasonable distance, and I only have 8,000 people in my city.
That's what I'm saying. So you still have the competition that's right next to you.
It's the same.
And right, it's the same, and you're selling 10 compared to Absolute Batman is the #1 comic book in the game right now, and you're only selling 10 of them.
Population. What's Phoenix's population?
I get it, that population, but what I'm getting at is
just a little bit bigger than buttfuck New York. Just a little.
It doesn't matter. It's the #1 comic book. If it's the #1 comic book in the game, and you're only selling 10 the day it comes out, that means
Jesse,
people aren't reading it.
Which variant of the #1 TV show in the nation did you sell more of?
Or Harley Quinn, Deadpool. Deadpool at the time had no movie.
No.
Same thing.
I'm asking Jesse a question. When you sold 750 Walking Deads, how many people cared about cover B? And this is a trick question, Jesse.
There wasn't a cover B at the time.
Because we split the numbers.
There was no cover B.
Yeah.
For 90% of the Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Walking Dead. Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking 100. Yeah.
Because why? Because they wanted to read it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The people who are buying Absolute Batman now, they're buying it for the covers. They're not reading. Most of the majority are reading it.
Now take 6 million people in Phoenix with the same ratio of retailers per person, per capita. Okay. Take it down to 8,000.
If you're a comic shop in a major city that's watching this right now, tell me how many Absolute Batmans you sell on a release day. Leave that in the description in the comments below. I want to know, if you're a major comic book shop in a major city, how many Absolute Batmans do you sell on a release day? That'd be a great thing to know.
Yeah, I think the other thing you want to look at is is what's the story on the blind bag for Spears, or does no one care? And is
I
it
think people care that are Mark Spears fans, but the majority of them don't care because they're not reading it. They don't even know that Mark Spears writes it. Half the people that buy it don't even know that Mark Spears writes it.
That Mark is a bubble, and he hasn't.
It's
popped
every
outside of that bubble.
comic. It's every comic that is like that. The vast majority of people are not reading their comics, Dennis. They're buying for cover art.
I'm going to disagree. I think that there is a very small segment. Well, here, I'll go one step further. And I love Brian, and we had Brian on. Look at Brian's Kickstarters or his Coffin launches. 2,700 for the first one, 1,200 for the non-Lady Death IP, 1,500 for another non-Lady Death IP, 1,700 for another non-Lady Death IP, then back up to 2,700 for the last Lady Death IP. Okay? That's 2,700 people that love the variant covers of one of our friends, and they're not caring about the story. I'm sure there's a large percent that want the story, but most of them care about that. That is the market for that kind of book. Now you look at Mark Spears. Mark Spears, huge. 80,000 units for issue 4, I believe it was. Was that correct? 80,000 units?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't think
I thought issue 4 hit 80,000.
I don't. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know.
I thought that's what he said.
That's what I think he said on our show.
It took the issue 4 to get to by issue 4 he was at 80,000.
Right, but that also included variant hunters because he had a 1 in 20, a 1 in 25.
Yep.
So how many people were reading it? Less and less and less.
Yep.
Emmet, how many variants were there for Absolute Batman? Issue number 10.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe 4, 5, including the 1 in 25 and 1.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So how many did Absolute Batman sell? A lot more than 80,000 Monsters number 4s.
But I don't get any variants. So
right. I know so many retailers that order in your numbers that don't get the variants either, but they sell out every issue. I carry a very small amount of Absolute Batman, and every single person that buys my Absolute Batmans wants to read it.
Yeah, this is very funny. Zabit
read the older books.
Zabit says. Zabit says, Brian, why are all the biggest comic book YouTube channels about stories instead of covers and spec? ? And here's the perfect answer, right? OJ Pimpson says, because people watch videos because they don't want to read their books. There you go. People do not want to read their books. They would rather have somebody tell them about it. They would rather have somebody tell them about the book. And all the videos that they're doing on those books are usually older comics. They're not newer comics.
And that's why they're buying Flash Rebirth from Jesse James. That's why they're buying Watchmen from Emmet. Because they watch the videos.
You just proved my point. You just proved my point.
No, you proved the opposite point.
What are you talking about? There's no new books that people are buying to read. There's very few. There's very few people that are buying books. There's very few people that are buying books to read these days. It's cover buys. It's whatever hot chick is on the cover. It's unfortunately. Am I happy about it? No, but I think that is the case.
They're not buying the new books, Brian. They're watching these videos from Comics Tropes.
You're proving my point.
Pop. What?
You're proving my point that people aren't reading books these days.
No, and then they're going into Jesse and me and Emmet and buying these old stories because they're
old. That's what I'm saying. They're not reading new books. They're reading the old stuff. The new stuff people aren't reading. It's not good. It's not good product. There's very few books. Listen, I read a ton of books. I read more books. I read more books than I've read doing this show than I read when I was going weekly at Jesse's store. The vast majority of books that I read, it's hard to get through. It's hard to get through. It's just the way it is.
Have you read Rook from?
Yes, I love Ghost Machine. Ghost Machine's great. Other than Hornsby and Halo, I can't really get into Hornsby and Halo. That's a little rough. I love the idea because I love demons and angels and stuff. But the art is great. But I can't get into Hornsby and Halo. I love Ghost Machine. Ghost Machine's great. Transformers, good. G.I. Joe, good. But when it comes to the Marvel and DC, listen, I'll be honest. Absolute Wonder Woman, garbage. Absolute Superman, it's okay.
The Absolute Wonder Woman's the best book. See, art's subjective. I think it's the best book. It's very emotional. It has a lot on the feelings.
It don't have a good cover, so I don't buy it.
The whole book is the whole world. If you're reading all the absolutes, it's starting to coalesce.
Martian Manhunter is too weird for me. I thought it was going to be interesting. It's too weird for me. I can't read it. I like Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman. Other than that,
the people I've read online or watched online say that Martian Manhunter is the best read.
You go read it and you tell me what you think.
Oh, dude, I don't like. There's a lot of books that everybody loves to read that I don't.
Well, I'm telling you what I like. I'm telling you what I think.
I made it like 8 issues into Sandman before I couldn't keep reading it.
Oh, you got farther than me.
Yeah, it's too weird. I stopped
it. The weirdness. It's just you can't tell me.
It's droning on and on and on.
Yeah, he tells you what the artist is drawing. What the fuck are you doing? It's a comic book. This is just,
well, I think we can agree that people are reading comic books. I think Brian's point is they're not reading
new comic books. That's my point. That's 100% my point. They are not reading new stuff.
For the last 3 years, you were correct, but I've seen a huge uptick in readership because the books are getting a lot better. I mean, there's books that have been running a while now that have Ice Cream Man.
All the X-Men is garbage. Ice Cream Man is great. Yep. I get it. All the horror stuff is great. All the EC stuff is fun and good. X-Men is garbage. X-Men should never be garbage. It should be always good.
Marvel is not counting on talent.
But any of the Spider-Man stuff, is terrible. Mary Jane as Venom is garbage. That should never be garbage. Spider-Man should always be good. It's the same thing when you have people like
he should be fired.
Yeah, I agree. It's Marvel and DC is better than Marvel right now. But for the most part, it's a lost cause. Ultimate Spider-Man was good when it first started. I don't think it's as good anymore. It's okay. But
if Marvel and DC are not doing well, independents won't do well. Marvel and DC, when they're doing well, people come into the shop to get those books, and then they buy an independent. If you hand sell it, if you can know what they like and pass on some indies will sell more if there's more people coming in for the Marvel and DC that everybody's already familiar with.
I think, and I'll say it again, I still think to this day that Image and their imprints at Skybound, Ghost Machine, Giant Generator, those type of things have comic books on their back. They're carrying comics for the big two. DC and Marvel, the only reason that DC is still doing anything is because they had to reboot again, which everybody hates fucking rebooting. And then Marvel is so bad it's laughable, especially when you have such great characters. Perfect example, Spider-Punk. Spider-Punk is a win-win. All you have to do is go get somebody that grew up in the punk scene and knows punk aesthetic and write that thing. Great character, great design, everything about it. It goes back to the whole woke thing again. Dennis, you're muted, and I didn't mute you. So just a heads up. Yeah, you're muted.
You must have coughed. You're muted.
Yeah. So,
okay. Can you just go to the chat real quick, private chat here on StreamYard?
Yeah.
I couldn't find a faster one, but I found one. Okay, so this is 2025, March of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are the top 50, I think, 50 comics being sold right now.
Yep.
You got it there. Okay. Batman Hush. Okay.
Which by the way is terrible by far across the board. Everybody thinks it's terrible.
Not as bad as Batman 1, but all right.
Yeah, across the board, people are saying it's a failure.
Absolute Flash, not a huge book. Definitely not a lot of variants.
What are you talking about? You telling me there's not a lot of variants? They do variants of. They do reprint variants every month of multiple absolute
but this
issues.
is for just first print. Absolute Batman 6. That's for the first release of these books. Is what hit this. Absolute Martian Manhunter, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman 6. Not a lot of variants on Absolute Wonder Woman 6. Ultimate Spider-Man. That's a Marvel book. Not a lot of variant spec on that.
What are you trying to prove on here? I don't understand. Are you telling me all these are good? Are you telling me all these are good and that's why they've sold that much?
No, I'm telling you people are reading them.
I don't think people are reading them. I don't think people are reading them.
Why are they
the same reason they buy the same reason they buy variants, Dennis, because there's a collectability and they like the art. I don't think that people are reading that are the vast majority.
I mean, honestly, I think the art on all of those absolutes looks like probably half a warm piece of garbage. Personally,
oh no, Absolute Wonder Woman is probably the best art.
It's too dark.
I agree. I don't like Absolute Wonder Woman. I think it's terrible.
I think the cover art on Absolute Wonder Woman is hot garbage. It's so dark. It's so brooding. And then I look at an Adam Hughes
but they're creating a tone. Like comics are fucking literature, man. You know this. They're creating a tone. This is a whole world that has no hope. If you read the original All In, where Superman drops to his knees and he goes, "Hope is the underdog."
I'm
whole
sorry.
World has no hope.
Dark Knight Returns #3 might be one of the greatest, brightest covers ever released by DC, and there's zero hope in that fucking book.
Okay.
I just I think that
that was when Frank Miller cared.
I think that there's a big problem with the big two, and the big two need to figure out some shit. We'll see if they do. A perfect example of living in the old school world where you just print more, and because you print more, and you then pawn it off onto the comic shops, it's their job to sell it. You say that it's a win because you printed this many, doesn't mean how many has sold. So I don't know how to even trust these numbers that they put out, because is this sales numbers or is this printed numbers?
That's sales to retailers.
Okay, so that's exactly what I'm saying. Sales to retailers is not sales to readers or buyers. That's sitting on store shelves collecting dust.
Do you think? See, I think you're wrong, Brian.
What are you talking about? Me and you, we just had a show the other day where you told me I was right on this.
Emmet and Jesse, if you didn't sell Absolute Superman 1 through 4, are you going to order Absolute Superman 5 at the same level to get the number 4 spot for DC Comics? No. So they're not sitting collecting dust. By issue 5, Brian, every retailer in this country has their orders tightened down like a fucking tight drum. Period.
I don't know. I keep getting told by retailers who have been in this game a long time that retailers are dummy. You tell me all the time that retailers are dummies. So how am I supposed to say that these retailers are smart when you tell me all the time that retailers are dummies?
Yeah, but they're not going to have issue 5 sitting on a shelf.
Okay, that being said, anybody got any pickups? You guys got any pickups?
Yep.
Oh, God. We got any pickups still?
Jesse,
okay.
Let's see what you got.
All right. So I got this awesome Wonder Woman 117 heel bondage cover, but she's wearing high heels, which I didn't know Wonder Woman wore high heels back in the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I picked up that. And then I did grab one just to show she does wear flat heels. So I don't know where those high heels came from. I love this cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just an awesome
That's
cover.
when she changed her uniform.
That was during the She Lost Her Power.
Yeah.
Is it? She went to the white costume, right?
Yeah.
With the white dress.
Yep.
And I think this is the first ever negative cover for a superhero.
Huh?
Or was there one before this where
negative?
they do negative Superman?
What do you mean? How is that negative?
Oh, he's talking about the black and white Superman down there.
Yeah, see right there.
He's in.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's World's Finest 126. And it says, haha, Superman's negative self will take care of Batman and Robin. So anyways, very cool.
I love those old
That was
school
very
detective and action comics where they change the uniform colors on those.
Then I picked up this mailer from Mad Magazine.
Cool.
Oh, very cool.
And when I opened it up, it ended up being
nice.
Oh, very
The
nice.
Bart Simpson one.
Yeah, exactly. So I picked up that. I got a couple more items. I picked up a very cool Dragon Ball Z field.
Cool. Super Saiyan Goku.
Yeah. And then I showed you in earlier what I picked up. So not only do we have the black.
He's at Monroe this week.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Yellow.
The flip head. Nice. The red. And the green.
And the pink.
And the pink.
That was my pickups.
Nice.
That's great.
Yep.
All right. Emmett, you got any?
I got some stuff today. Nothing exciting. 93 Marvel Masterpiece. 190 cards.
Oh, very cool.
Doubles, triples. None of the inserts. I don't know if it had inserts, but there wasn't any inserts in it. So I think they're like $5 to $15 a piece, something like that. I got them at 40 cents each.
Dennis?
The only pickup I really got this week was my HasLab Cantina for Star Wars, the Creature Cantina. It comes with a whole bunch of new figures.
Right.
And, it's really big and it's cool. And I'll tell you, I'm debating. Chat, tell me whether I need to buy it or not. I've watched like
Don't buy
five. I've watched like 5 fucking videos on
It's
it.
not
And
good.
at the beginning, the Lego Death Star.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the G.I. Joe Snow Wolf thing.
Oh no, I passed on that one. That was the first. That was another one of those, and I passed on the HasLab droid.
You guys got to look at your
snake.
distributors for the Marvel Legends Magic the Gathering set coming out.
Oh yeah, it's going to be
the Wolf
huge.
has a
Spider-Man.
Mark Spears card.
Well, yeah, but Spider-Man is going to be huge. They just announced that there's an Infinity Gem, and that's going to be like the One Ring.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be monstrous.
Yeah.
But no, so they made $1,000 Lego Death Star. Should I buy it? Because I kind of want to buy it, but I also want to build the rest of the Death Star around it because I have enough Lego pieces to do that. Let me know, chat. Should I do it?
Hey, Emmett, what was that new Ice Cream Man thing that we were supposed to order this week?
The card set.
Remember,
They're based. They're
was it
like
a card
cards.
set?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was very interesting.
Yeah, they're instead of doing an issue, they're doing it all through a card set.
Yeah. Okay. That's
oh my God! Is it going to be like the Spider-Man set, where you have to put 9 cards in a page to make the page?
No. It's supposed to tell a story on each card.
Plasma. That was a brilliant idea if they'd done it with something that anybody gave a shit about.
Yeah. So I think that's
there was a
be
lot
cool.
of talented people working on that in that company at that time, and it was a huge fail. I don't know why, but it was a huge failure. It wasn't good. That's
well,
why
yeah.
it was a huge
The
failure,
art sucked. The art sucked, and I don't know if the story was any good because I didn't care. But they had a lot of money to burn, and they burned it.
Yeah.
You know, things perplex me. Valiant books. Nobody's buying Valiant books. Doesn't matter what artist they have, what writer they have. The Shadow Man that just came out, they rebooted Shadow Man again. This issue.
Well,
was
I thought it
great.
was funny that Shadow Man controversy that they have, where they were poking fun at all the Karens and Kevins out there. Did you see that? Yeah. That was pretty funny. Yeah. That was really funny, actually.
I sold
I'll
out
give
of
them
that
credit
book.
for that. You sold out of that one?
The Shadow
Yeah.
Man, yeah.
Number
Yeah.
one,
Well,
I think it
don't
was.
forget, they have the Karen exclusive baseball coming out here pretty soon.
It's already out. That card, I saw the Garbage Pail Kid version of it.
No,
Right?
no. The Phillies game.
That's what I'm talking
lady.
about. Yeah, they
Yeah,
made a
they're
Garbage
making
Pail
a
Kid.
card.
Yeah, I think they made a Garbage Pail Kid out of her.
Oh
So,
my gosh,
yeah.
that is crazy. I think someone offered her 5,000.
Yeah, a sports card store.
Yeah,
So,
but she had to apologize for or something like that. Yeah.
so before we leave, I do want to talk about one comment. Bill Carmody says, I'm just saying, he kind of got mad at me for having an opinion on this. He said, oh, okay, all right, Brian, just chill. Maybe your opinion is just wrong. Sometimes smoke one and just chill. And then he said, I'm just saying your opinion is just an opinion. You can't possibly know who is reading and who is buying for the art. Just chill. Well, let me tell you why I think I know who's reading and who's buying for the art. I do 4 live shows a week, 3 hours plus on each live show, and read the vast majority of comics out there. And not a single person on any one of these live shows wants to talk to me about stories and comics. That being said, love you guys. We'll see you soon. Adios.